says IRM. Leave it to Josh to F it all up. You know I'm here. It's going to be jacked up.
We're clueless. We remain clueless and proud.
That's it. If we got this thing smooth, man, what would we do with ourselves?
Bit light on the ground this week, aren't we?
For the time being.
Bit light on the ground.
Yeah, I think for the time being we are. I know Rob is out.
Rob is out. I think James
making the fiat currency. Yeah.
Adam, I believe, will be joining us.
Yeah, he's celebrating a bit. He should join us. Yeah.
Getting his priorities right.
So, that's it. Yeah, that just shows we have no life. That's all that does.
Friday night. Where else would it be? Well, Friday night here, anyway.
That's it.
Friday afternoon over there, isn't it?
It is. It's actually been a nice day here. We had some weather that kind of bypassed us yesterday. It looked like it was going to storm, but no, it's been quite lovely today. I was out messing with the drone a bit. Realized about the third battery in that I had not put the memory card in, so all the lovely footage I assumed I was not getting, so I just had some fun today.
I hate it when that happens.
Yeah.
Anyone see that video today? Well, put out today, I think, by a guy who was up helping in the Havey hurricane.
I may have watched that video myself. The guy with the just kind of sitting on his porch talking. I can't remember his name now. I had it brought up just a minute ago.
Yeah, it's How's something or other. I'm sure they know in chat. Yeah. But yeah, some interesting, worrying, interesting. Don't quite know how to take it.
Right next door.
I mean, I heard the same sort of thing said about the New Orleans hurricane blowing the levees and deliberately flooding and letting bodies wash out to sea. And
it was said on the news. I watched it happen live. I watched them say it was going to happen. That they heard the bombs. I saw the levee water round up as I don't know. I saw it, and then the next day the footage it wasn't there. So
yeah, and
this was way before I was keeping things, downloading things. I was just involved in trying to survive during that thing.
When was that? How long ago was that?
My goodness. So 3, 4. My goodness. It's been a minute now. It's been a minute, yeah.
I thought it was more recent than that. I didn't know.
No, it's been a while.
Yeah, I remember they were doing
what was terrible
house
was
to house.
Right behind it. Rita hit right behind it and just kept pounding, Kind of like what's going on now with all these that keep hitting back to back.
Yeah, it seems to be a common story with these hurricanes or natural disasters. So,
yeah, 2005. That's what I thought. It was that long ago.
Right, blimey, that is quite a while ago, isn't it? 12 years. Yeah,
that's a good one.
Well, as you know, I mean, there's many, many people out there with videos that have popped up this last couple of weeks. ODD did one. In fact, he put it up right after the show, like he told us he would that week. And then D Marble put one up, about all the geoengineering, all the documentation, all the.
Yeah.
I mean, the admitted. I mean, you can find books that go back, to the 40s and 30s and stuff. You can see that article he talked about from the 1800s with the weather wizard or whatever he was burning the forest off to create rain. So
that's right.
It's pretty crazy.
That was 1830, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
It was pretty much the first recorded, and the guy was called the Rain Wizard or something, and he flooded it.
Something like that, right?
Yeah. And people still call you a conspiracy theorist for pointing out these persistent trails in the sky. I mean, what have you got to do? It's right in front of your eyes. It wasn't there when you were a kid, or at least it's got exponentially worse. I mean, what have you got to do to wake these people up?
I really don't know anymore. I really don't. I mean, like right now, as always on Twitter, there's a huge line of just inanity at this point of just people. Are you really going to somebody put up a meme with all these interlocking conspiracy theories, and the things that were listed on it were just you know, FEMA camps. It's like, okay, why don't you go look into Rex 84 and then come back and talk to me about the FEMA camps?
Yeah.
What was the other one on there?
Or listen to that video I'm talking about.
Sandy Hook. I mean, just anything on that list. I'm like, really? Have you done any research at all to any of this? Just to assume that we're all nutters and off our rocker?
Yeah. Yeah. It's all just theory, isn't it? Tinfoil hats and theories. And just because they can't be bothered to go and research it because they're scared it might be real.
Well, that's what it's all about, is the fear. And what, you know, if they find out that that's all real, then their nice little secure world and their nice little cushion they've built around their head with TV and gaming and whatever else they've lost themselves in. You know, trust me, I had my years of being lost in the television world for a little while myself. So it's quite brain numbing and feeds you just a line of drivel, just to completely twist your thinking around. And I see it constantly talking to these people on Twitter. Feels like beating your head against the wall.
Yeah, I see it too. And it's almost as if they're following a script. It's just metronome, you know, tick tock, tick tock. It's just, yeah. That's why I'm not really on Twitter to talk to those sort of people. I'm there to talk to the curious.
Right. That's exactly it. And the only reason I engage these idiots when they come into my TL is for the fact that afterward 10 or 15 other people will come in and ask legitimate questions. And then, you know, they wind up being guests on the show later on. Actually, that's happened before. That's how we met Molly.
Yeah. Yeah. It's all for everyone else who might be watching it. You know, that's, I get told all the time, why are you bothering with this dickhead? And it's like, I'm not. It's for other people to watch how to deal with dickheads when they come along. Yeah.
So we had some new sports folks coming out this week in support of the flat earth. Let's see, who shall we tackle first, so to speak? All right, I use the now. Might as well go Sammy Watkins of the LA Rams.
Yes, sir.
So let's got this queued up. We'll probably get hit for it, but
it's Friday. Let's go for it.
Yeah, we got hit last week. Let's get hit this week. Might as well. Oh, there's like.
Well, that was a start.
There we go. About the Earth being flat and funny. Didn't realize it would set the social media world on fire today. Here's how it went down in the locker room yesterday. Interviewed Sammy about his targets. Not target a lot in week 2 against Washington. Asking if he expects more targets this week, Thursday night against the 49ers. Of course, that was a conversation about football. And then the conversation with another person in the locker room turned to more philosophical things. I said, Sammy, you're not one of those guys who thinks the earth is flat, are you? And he goes, well, yeah, I do. And I said, Sammy. And he said, I do. And I said, I'm tweeting this. And he said, okay. And I said, ask him a couple more times, like, Sammy, really? And he goes, yeah, okay. So I tweeted it. There's the tweet. It's out there. Lo and behold, I didn't write like a 1,000-word article on it because, you know, there's other things to report about when the Rams play the 49ers in a Thursday night football game. So yeah, it's something funny to put on the internet. We can maybe have a deeper conversation with Sammy about that and all the other crazy things he may or may not believe. But it's really not that complicated. That's what Sammy thinks, and that's what I tweeted. Other than that, I'm trying to write about football. All right, cool.
That's awesome.
It's funny.
I'm afraid what she's going to find out, just like my friend Alexis with Mike.com, is now that she's stirred this hornet's nest with a stick, she's going to find out there's way more behind this than she thought.
Oh, yeah. Be interesting to see where she goes from here.
I suspect she's talking to her editors as much as she is her fans when she says, I'm just trying to write about football.
Stop talking to me about flat earth. Brilliant. Love it. No getting away from it. Sorry, it's not going anywhere.
No, it's not. Did you see the? Well, let's continue on the sports vein before we go wide world. Yeah, go ahead.
So here's the next one.
So Jaylen Brown. Or Jalen. I was about to say, I don't want to say the wrong name.
Yeah, that's right.
Ball thing. Okay.
Last year in 2016, professional basketball player Kyrie Irving said he believes the Earth is flat.
Do you believe that the Earth is round?
Yes, I do.
Okay. You believe the Earth is round?
Yes, but I heard the new one that the Earth.
There's no new one. There is no new one.
Okay, I heard some crazy.
Do you believe that we are? Do you believe?
This could sound crazy. Ben Diggles, this is a shout out to you. He came to us and he listens to super conspiracy theory guy.
This is not even conspiracy.
The Earth is flat.
Yeah, no, the Earth is flat.
Oh, here we go.
The Earth is flat. Earth is flat.
You were a trending topic on Twitter today. Do you know?
I just found that out.
What's your thoughts on that? I mean, it's an interesting.
I think people should do their own research, man. And then hopefully they'll either back my belief or they'll kind of throw it in the water. I think it's interesting for people to find out.
You've seen pictures of the planet, though, right? Like it's a circle. So
I've seen a lot of things that have that my educational system has said that was real and turned out to be completely fake. So I mean, I don't mind going against the grain in terms of my thoughts.
With the flat Earth thing, is that something that you truly believe?
Does it matter?
Yes.
For what?
Well, I mean,
what's so important about that?
You have millions of fans.
Out of all the podcasts, that's what you took out of it? The flat Earth?
You were asked again about
it. Yeah. I mean, the fact that could be news all over the world just shows you how.
What does it show?
I mean, the fact that it's a social phenomenon that Kyrie thinks the world is flat is hilarious to me.
Well, again, you have lots and lots of fans, and the fans.
Does that affect them?
It may.
Oh, okay. I mean, it doesn't really have a relevance over my life. I just feel like that the fact that it's even a conversation is hilarious. That could actually be news. That's hilarious to me.
Some people thought you were joking. You're not joking, though, right?
No, I mean, it was just like a point that, the fact that could actually be real news. Like everything that's going on, that Kyrie Irving thinks the world is flat. So, we could ask like relevant questions. What's going on in the world? Like what's really going on? But you know what I'm saying? Or what I really believe, or who I really am. That'd be nice. But the fact that that's what everyone got out of the podcast, that's hilarious to me.
Well, we can get to who you are, certainly, but is this something that you believe?
I mean, does it matter? That's what I'm asking. Well, that doesn't matter to you, like that I think that the world is flat, or I think that the world is round.
I mean,
or is it like just the fact that we're sitting here asking, answering questions? Do I think the world is flat?
And you said this, so that's why it matters. Everybody wants to know.
Okay.
Do you believe?
I'm gonna believe what I believe, and then whether I think the world is flat, or whether I think the world is round. I mean, believe what I believe.
This is Jaylen Brown, just a couple of days ago, 3 days ago.
The conversations are great. Every time we don't even talk basketball. Today was his first day, so today was the first time I got to talk to him. He's talking about spending time in Atlanta. We spent a little bit of time in Atlanta, and I spent a little bit of time in Atlanta. We didn't cross paths, but we were just talking about that. There's going to be numerous conversations. I'm interested in having the conversation on whether the world is flat or round or not. So it's going to be an interesting year, I'll tell you that.
What are your thoughts on that? What are your stance?
I'm not yet ready to make my comment or statement on that, but as of what my eyes have told me, the world may appear to be flat. Kyrie may very well have a point, so we'll see. We'll see.
He's already convinced you. They're already giggling at him.
Isn't it hilarious?
It's everywhere. It truly is.
It is.
Did you guys see?
Sorry.
Go right ahead, sir.
I was just saying, I met up with my oldest mate a few months ago, and he's living in Slovakia now. Sort of gave up the rat race and everything and moved out with his family to Slovakia and teaches English. And so it's his job to talk about interesting, sort of up-to-date material to the English students. And he came up to me because I landed this on him about 6 months ago or a year ago, and he came up and said, you know, my students keep coming up and asking about flat Earth, and I don't know what to say. And I'm just like, well, just go research it, man. I mean, there's nothing more interesting than researching and talking about flat Earth. I think it's fantastic. The areas you have to look into are just numerous. I mean, I must have, you know, learnt 3 times as much as I've ever known in the last 3 years, just due to flat Earth. It's fantastic.
It really does spawn a whole lot more research.
And not just research. People go out and do experiments. They make videos. They launch balloons. They put up billboards. They make crazy podcasts. I mean, it definitely inspires people to be active and to get that word out there. And it is. It's spreading. Did you guys see the Dutch TV Flat Earth saying whatever? It was like I don't know if it was a game show exactly. It was really hard to understand the circumstance. But
no, what was that about?
Yeah, I sent the link over to that room for you, Josh. But
me a chance.
Seems to be a room. I mean, a game show where you're supposed to guess if someone's like really a certain type of occupation, maybe you know, kind of a spin off that old 70s show. What was it? Match Game? Not Match Game. Been too long ago.
Yeah, well, they had to convince you. They had to try and convince you they were being real or not.
Legit, or not. So that was kind of the gist I got from it. Reading subtitles.
They had a flat earther on there, did they?
Yeah, it's pretty interesting. Pretty interesting that it's getting everywhere. I mean, literally, not too long ago, you know, we had ODD on TV getting interviewed. Speaking of, is it, man, who is it? I think it was he and, goodness. Richie.
Oh, was it Richie?
Oh, what? He and Richie have been they just did a live broadcast while Richie was in Denver. And I don't know if it's kind of long. We definitely won't have time to play that now. But if you have time to watch it, it's definitely an interesting, you know, just look into those two guys and how they think about flat Earth, talking it back and forth, face to face, kind of meeting each other, you know, kind of just interesting. There's also been a lot of people on doing like the whole street interview thing. I noticed that Beyond the Imaginary Curve, their little crew have been doing a lot of like apparently walking around colleges and universities and walking up to students and faculty and talking about flat Earth and putting up some videos about it. So definitely those are interesting to check out on Beyond the Imaginary Curve channel. Go check them out after our show, of course. Even Mark Sargent read a thing off Facebook, I believe, where a university professor was engaging some of his students, old students that were, you know, they were talking flat Earth on TV. I mean, on Facebook, I think, and he kind of just jumped in, like, "Really, you guys are talking this?" And it got, you know, it turned into the usual. It was interesting. You have to go check that out too. So it's just getting everywhere. It's really becoming. I mean, if you haven't at least heard about it, you definitely have your head buried in the sand at this point.
There was that poll. Sorry, carry on.
No, flat Earth sparks a certain kind of activism. So I did want to take a minute to give a shout out to all those people in chat, because even though they may hide our notifications and hide us in the live streams listings, you guys are still here with us every week. So Rob, Esposito, Rain of Fire, Seven Raven Wolf, 20 Below, We Are Waking Up, Dundee, the Alba Gamer, I see you in there. Teresa, good to see you. It's awesome. Karen B, thanks for coming. Who we have? Stephen Jean B.A., M Life M6. They're wondering about some John Brahma updates, which hopefully we'll get to a little bit later in the show. Yeah, I just want to thank everybody for coming in. I know it's not always the easiest, and there's lots of live streams going on right now. Seems like Friday is getting to be the time to do a good Flat Earth live stream. Not like we haven't been here doing them for a year, but whatever. Just a big thanks.
I'll second that as well. Welcome to everyone.
Yes.
Although I don't spend much time monitoring the chat or anything because it's incredibly distracting. But
I'm looking at it.
I do watch it in the breaks. I scroll back. I look at it. Yeah, see who's around, who's there, and appreciate everyone.
We're so light-handed today. I didn't want to get distracted because every time I do get into it, I start answering and get into the run of the chat, and then I'm lost. Like I hear my name in a question. I'm like, wait, who? What? Where? Live show? Who? Me?
Too easy, isn't it?
Yes. Well, it's because they're so engaging. The people that we have in chat. I mean, they bring fresh ideas. They definitely prod us to look into things deeper. They keep us in line when we're full of shit. I mean.
Yeah.
Pooh. Sorry.
We are.
Luke.
We can be.
Turns out I think I even have something for that, guys.
Sorry, Josh.
I was going to say, I think I have something for those moments that we need to use.
So yeah, I'll just have to let you know ahead of time when I plan on accidentally cursing.
Right, you just script out your comments for me, would you?
Right,
you can try it on me later. I'm bound to slip something in there.
And I see Rock just hopped in chat too, so big shout out to Rock for joining us this Flat Earth Friday.
Shout out.
Sorry, I keep stepping on you, John. You were saying?
No, I can't remember now.
So I do have that Flat Earth Talk channel on YouTube. I have that video pulled up, third one we've played. So a big shout out to the Flat Earth Talk channel.
Yeah, you guys rock, by the way. Thanks. And we definitely will have those links in the description later after the show.
Absolutely. So let's check out their Flat Earth on Dutch TV. Oh, how about I unmute?
De volgende is voor Margriet. Eindconclusie van internationale conferentie Egmond aan Zee is: de aarde is plat. Is dat nepnieuws of is dat echt nieuws? Jeetje, ik vind het zo bizar dat de aarde plat is. Dat daar een conferentie is in Egmond aan Zee, ja, internationaal, hè? En dat ze dan concluderen dat de aarde plat is. Dus misschien is het wel waar. Is het wel waar? Nou, voor het antwoord ga ik even naar mijn gasten. Hallo. Mike en Bastiaan, goedenavond. De aarde is plat. Als ik dat aan jullie vraag, dan zeggen jullie?
Ja.
Nou ja. En hoe weten jullie dat?
Kijken, zelf onderzoek doen. In plaats van Discovery of NASA geloof. Gewoon zelf meten.
Even voordat je dat meten uitlegt. Weten jullie inmiddels ook hoe de platte aarde eruit ziet?
Dat weet niemand.
Oh, dat weet je niet. Maar ongeveer, heb je een idee? Is er een...
Ja, plat.
Ja. Maar plat van je valt eraf? Nee, dat buiten kijf?
Ja. Nee, je zit in een gesloten systeem. Ja. Je zit in een cv-installatie die onder druk staat.
Ja.
Oké. En hoe zit het met de andere planeten? Zijn die wel rond?
Zo zien ze er wel uit. Maar we weten niet of het terra firma is, zeg maar.
Ja. Dus die zouden ook plat kunnen zijn? Of
theoretisch gezien wel,
zou alles kunnen zijn?
Of geen fysieke objecten.
Ja.
Dus dat het een illusie is eigenlijk? Ja. De andere planeten?
En eigenlijk is tv ook een illusie. Hè?
Ja. Dus eigenlijk het onderzoek naar het heelal zou ook wel eens een bedenksel kunnen zijn?
Ja. Nou, meer een scam. Het is meer om de burger geld uit zijn zak te kloppen. Ja. En ons maar te doen laten geloven dat er andere planeten zijn waar we op kunnen gaan wonen.
Oh ja, want daarvan denk je, dat is mij beloofd, maar misschien is dat helemaal onzin.
Ja.
Terwijl je daar misschien van gaat denken, het is onzin. En als je met iets als KLM, Air France of zo gaat praten en zegt van volgens ons is de aarde plat, wat zeggen zij dan? Want zij vliegen er natuurlijk
zij zullen zeggen van niet, maar een instrumentatie in een vliegtuig geeft aan dat ze over een plat vlak vliegen. Daarom heet het ook een airplane en geen air curve.
Ja, dat vind ik ook.
I love it. That's awesome.
Wat zien we hier?
Ja, dit is een visuele weergave van een alternatief model.
Dit is eigenlijk wat je buiten ziet.
De alternatieve vorm van de aarde.
Ja.
Het is eigenlijk een goede gok op wat het is. Want we kunnen niet hoog genoeg komen om het te zien of om het in beeld te krijgen van wat het nou eigenlijk werkelijk is.
Nee.
Exact.
En wie is jullie? Als je zegt wij kunnen niet hoog genoeg komen?
Flat Earthers.
Flat Earthers. Met hoeveel zijn jullie?
Miljoenen
ondertussen, ja.
Serieus?
Ja.
1000 per dag komen erbij.
En er zijn er ook nog stille mensen die het gewoon niet durven vertellen. Want ja, als je dit gaat vertellen...
Maar hier heb je wel echt veel mensen voor nodig. Die jarenlang hebben gezegd, de aarde is rond.
Je hebt alleen indoctrinatie voor nodig. Je gaat mensen constant vertellen dat iets zo is. Als je de leugen blijft herhalen, wordt het vanzelf de waarheid.
En waar is die leugen ooit begonnen?
Copernicus.
Die heeft al de leugen. Die dacht, ik heb een ontdekking. Echt niet. Ja. Dat is eigenlijk het eerste gefakte wetenschappelijke onderzoek. Dus die aarde is rond.
Voordat ze überhaupt met een ballon of iets dergelijks de lucht in kon komen, stond er al een bol in elk klaslokaal. Zonder dat ze het überhaupt met hun eigen ogen gezien hadden. Het werd voor waarheid aangenomen zonder dat er iemand ooit een meting heeft gedaan. En dat is gewoon een verder gaan borduren over de eeuw heen.
En nou geloven we het allemaal. Klopt alles.
Mag ik jullie hartelijk danken.
Absoluut.
Margriet, je hebt het goed.
Damn, I like that. That was really good.
That is quality, yeah. There's just no arguing against it, really. You know, you can take it to any level, to science level, to just reason, logic, what you see with your senses, empirical data. There is really no arguing against it.
They seem surprisingly open. But the two fighters...
they definitely weren't ridiculing it. Maybe, in other countries, it might not be as big an obstacle with the ridicule.
Hey, we've been joined by Adam.
They were.
Good evening, guys. Can you hear me?
Yeah, that was quick. Early night.
You're a little distant, Adam. Maybe you scooch a tad closer to the mic.
Am I scooching, baby? Am I scooching enough?
Yes.
He's a scoocher from way back.
Sounds good. Welcome. How are you this week?
Not bad. Not bad at all, mate. A little rushed, but yeah. First of all, happy birthday to my wife. Love
happy
her very
birthday.
Much. And
happy birthday,
Mary.
Happy birthday, Mrs Meakin.
She's messing around with the kids and told me to clear off and go back to my Friday show. So, yeah. Been for a lovely meal. Traditional, John. Went for fish and chips, mate. Fish and chips.
Oh, sweet. Oh, lovely. I had some chive and turmeric battered fish the other day, and yep, that was the day before yeah, we won't go there.
Was really ill.
I don't think I can handle the fat anymore, the deep fried stuff and all that sort of thing. I think it just, not good. But, yeah, good luck with that.
I had a lot of onion rings as well. Feeling bloated, but a lovely night.
Good stuff.
Well, shoot,
what were we
Friday.
talking about?
I was just going to let Adam know he can go and kick back, pop his feet up, and undo his pants and relax.
That's it. Relax. It's Friday, brother. You made it. It's still flat. It's Friday. We have the crew in the chat with us. So, yeah, man, just chill.
That top button's already gone, Josh. It's already gone.
Blown off, right? Just completely gone.
Mine was about 10 minutes ago, too.
I just tuned in and see you were doing the. I saw the you were showing the Dutch TV.
Yes,
we were. Expose, wicked, man. Yeah,
that was.
I noticed that myself. Thought it was awesome.
Indeed. I think we were just kind of mentioning that, or I was just maybe the openness there,
and it was more interesting to see. It wasn't ridiculed, was it? Even though it was a comedy show, it's probably a serious point that was actually trodden with by the host and the panel members quite respectfully. I thought it was quite an interesting.
I think so many people are hearing it now that
you might see in
it's becoming
English-speaking countries, shall we say?
Respectable. Adam, can you hear us?
I was just about to ask that question.
You seem to be monologuing. Can you hear us, mate?
Adam, test. Adam.
Yeah.
Adam, oh, he can hear us.
I don't think he can.
I do not believe. So I guess shoot him a message and he's gone.
I think he's realised, yeah.
Yeah.
But
So-
it is true. It's everywhere. Sorry, Charles, go.
No worries. I was just looking at chat again, and I see Flat Enough just posted a link for his Steemit account. So I know that that's always a nice little thing for people trying to get up and going and get away from YouTube. So I just wanted to let everybody to go over to steemit.com/science /@flatenough /what is science over on Steemit and check his stuff over there.
What's Steemit? That's new to me.
Me too.
How do you spell it?
STEEMIT.
Okay.
Ah, yes. That's why I was thinking, I guess I was tying it into Steam, like the gamer thing. So, yeah, I know that one. I mean, I don't know it, but I've seen it.
Well, here, he just posted, Steemit is a
ahead.
reputation-based attention economy social network,
Right.
and unfortunately already entrenched. So apparently Steemit's not particularly safe either.
We actually have an account there that I started and just kind of didn't know enough about how that whole other account that you had to create, and somehow cryptocurrency was tied into it, and I didn't have a clue about that, so I just kind of let it sit there. I sure did. So that's interesting. You might want to go check that back out. There's
Those are
also a new one
forwards.
that just came out. I'm sorry?
/ not back. / not /.
Right. This one, as far as I know, in fact, they stated it in their little page intro that they're not tied to or related to Bitcoin in any way. It's called BitChute, and it's actually a new platform that's trying to eliminate the whole Google algorithm control, shadow banning, just the whole thing that everybody's complaining about. The bigger channels that have, income and things that are getting messed with, and channels that are getting taken down because of inappropriate content, and it's nothing, inappropriate at all, that kind of thing. So there's a lot of things going on out there trying to create alternatives to YouTube.
I'm using VidMe, VIDME.
Yes. Yes, sir.
As an alternative, and I think that's distributed networks and all that sort of good stuff. So, yeah, the more YouTube start banning and capping people, do you see they mullered Jeran this week, banned him from live broadcast for 6 months.
John, what's gone off there? What happened? Because I'd seen the comment he'd been banned, but I've not seen any detail. What do you know?
He was doing a live stream criticising NASA with their own footage and saying, look how fake this looks and this sort of thing. And he got whilst he was live, he got a copyright strike alert come across his screen, banning him for 6 months, basically, for bullying and hate speech. And he didn't mention anyone's name. He didn't mention, he didn't say go over to their channel and, hound them or do anything. And it was just criticism of it. They didn't like it. And so he's had a 6 month ban. He appealed it. They rejected it. So he's seriously
bullying
looking.
who?
NASA.
The government department?
Yeah.
NASA?
Yeah.
An institute. You can't bully a
multi-billion pound government department. Yeah. Well, it's obviously Jeran is making dents.
It's fantastic. Well done, Jeran.
That's what I thought. But I think it is time that we all look to other platforms to get this stuff out before it's too late.
Yeah, we really need to. I've been thinking at least start downloading one show at a time and putting it on the backup channel, and just start uploading it to several other sites and just start backing up this particular channel everywhere else.
Yeah. And also videos, good videos that you see, download them, get copies of them so you can upload them and mirror them elsewhere. Because as we've seen, these videos go missing. Whole channels go missing. Brian Mullen, all of his stuff. Luckily, people had downloaded it for later, and it's all been put back up there. But all of that cracking work would have been for no use whatsoever if YouTube had their way. I know Brian Mullen voluntarily took his down, and so did Rory Cooper, my perspective. But that to me just says, you know, we need to grab these things when we see them, get copies of them.
And there is possibly another way to work around this. I think Chris Geo had a similar incident happen. And it was so completely obvious into the fair use bracket that there was really no debating it. So rather than getting all upset and trying to lash out and do all this other stuff, he just worked on trying to get a hold of a human being. He thought that surely this was just sort of an algorithm thing, and once he was able to talk to a human being, human to human, it would all get sorted out, and the copyright strike would get lifted, and everything would go on, and he'd go on his merry way. And sure enough, that's what happened. It's all just a matter of trying to bypass it, and hopefully you can talk to an actual human being that can have some effect on your channel, and just try to do it that way.
That's very often the case. It's very often the case when complaining to companies and things like that, is that you don't go through their automated phone system or their online, complaints department or anything like that. Yeah, you've got to speak to a human being who's still hopefully capable of rational thought. Hopefully.
People are capable of rational thought. They're denied the ability to implement it, and that's the reality. And all I was going to say there before there, John, was given all of this pessimism, and it's founded with regards to YouTube. What's trying to change a system stupid? Just ignore the system. So with that in mind, what even in the chat, what alternative is there? I mean, I'm techno illiterate. Do you know what I mean? And
do you mean platforms?
So yeah. What other platforms are there that are
there's a good
dual streaming or whatever actually transposing to?
There was a good Corbett report article this week, I think, because he's looking at it as well, and he listed numerous alternatives to YouTube and Google and that sort of thing. I'll see if I can dig it out, but VidMe being one of them, Gab.ai as an alternative to Twitter, and there are numerous ones out there, but that's not where the numbers are, you know. So it's a case of, over time, people will get pissed off enough with the level of content that's on YouTube, because it will just be autonomous mulch bullshit, and they'll be going to find other areas. If I promote any of my videos now, then I'm going to do it via the VidMe link rather than a YouTube link. But you're right. There's absolutely no point complaining about it, because YouTube own the platform. You're agreeing to their terms and conditions, no matter what those terms and conditions are. So there's no point complaining about it. You just have to, like Chris Geo and that, up sticks and start your own thing, or populate a different platform. But tell people about it.
Well, that's what I'm asking. Is there one out there that's an alternative already that's worth just dual streaming to? You don't necessarily have to change everything.
Well, that's one thing I'm not sure about is the streaming aspect. I actually have looked at BitChute is one that I have a channel for us and for my own channel, and just started it like really last week, playing around with it. So put up a video, and I'm still not sure about the streaming aspect. So that could be an issue. They may have the market cornered on the streaming aspect. Google might right now with YouTube. I'm not sure.
They do not. Chris Geo has taken to streaming on YouTube a little bit, and he's using a program where he can stream to YouTube and to what's the one to Periscope on Twitter, and do the Facebook.
Oh, yeah.
And he can do it all at the same time. So his
nice.
BS just does it to one place, and we direct it to YouTube. will do it to all three simultaneously. But is it pricey?
I was about to ask that. Is it a high-end system? It would have to be. My goodness, that's nice.
It is really nice, but he pays for it.
Well, the capability's there. It's now a case of restructuring that, that purchasing agreement so that it becomes next to nothing for the user, and the advertisers can move in. And these are things we have to put up with, unless you're going to pay a subscription per year for an alternative to YouTube, which not many people are. Then we're subject to some sort of way that they're going to be able to revenue generate. It's up to them how much they want to revenue generate. I mean, do they need to be a quadrillion-dollar company, or do they need to, just pay their current employees enough to, do their jobs and take a hit for the team? It's up to them. Who did we lose there? Josh, was it?
No, Josh is here. Did we lose anybody?
No, I'm still
going. No, everybody's here.
I think what you probably heard was my Skype starting.
Right, okay.
On the off chance that in the second hour people wanted to call in, I have the Skype open and I have the flatline open. And I reckon we'll reach out to somebody in chat, see if anybody out there wants to hop on with us.
Absolutely. That would be great to have somebody in from chat. We haven't done that in some time, so that would be an awesome little thing to do. Everybody raise a hand.
Yeah, we'll take a break here in about 10 minutes. And when we come back from the break, we'll just open everything up and see who we can come into contact with.
Adam, I'm sure you've got a few things to cover as well, haven't you?
Yeah, actually. I mean, if we're going to take a break in 10,
tease us out for 10.
Yeah.
Stuff you.
Well,
yeah.
There is a big tease. There is a big tease, and I know Teresa's in chat, and I want to.
You're going to tease it already?
Yeah. No, I'm not doing nothing. This is like a pre-tease tease. I'm not even going to mention what it is. I'm just teasing Teresa that I want to speak to her before, hopefully next week, announcing something.
Tease away, mate. I'm going flaccid.
I've done teasing. I've done teasing. I'm not teasing right if that's happening, John.
Teresa, it is very important that you contact Adam sometime, hopefully within the next few days, as soon as possible. There's some very important things
before next week, right?
Yeah, we'd like to have a chat with a lot of the work we've done, and Teresa's been a big help and an inspiration. And I don't think without her input, I'd have got some of it. I say input, sometimes just moaning about explain this, but without her, I don't think we'd be where we are. But
you've teased so much, I've no idea what you're on about. Can you give us?
I'm moving on. I'm done with the tease. Because what I wanted to say was I've been away for donks. It feels like absolutely ages, and I've done a lot of catching up. And there's been a few bits and bobs that again have helped me with regard to the tease. And I think there's been some work that's been done that really, I've got to be honest, it's just been completely ignored, and the significance of it and the level of research and actual proper scientific research and evaluation and postulation done properly, not by anything other than standard methods. And that's Cami and Adele from Globebusters with the stuff she's done, not only in terms of postulating how the sun and moon move, but also the luminescence aspect of the moon, the self-illumination side of it. And I've took a lot of inspiration from her work and listened to a lot of what she said when she's given the opportunity to speak. And like I say, a lot of what I want to talk about next week is built upon that. It's not a repetition of it. It's in addition to it, and it's from some of that work that I've kind of had an idea and took a bit further research, and there seems to be something behind it. But I'll finish there. The other thing I'd seen loads of, again, it was shown by Globebusters when I caught it, but it's by the Flat Earth Core, which is what we've all been talking about loads, which is the apparent sun and a mechanism for the movement of the apparent sun, and how that is possibly an explanation for why the sun's not placeable in the sky when we measure from different points on the earth. And that's the bit I want to do when we come back, which is to talk about Middleton's map, which is a ridiculously old map. I'm just going to find it now. I think it's 18 something or other, but a ridiculously old map. And there's a lot of stuff that's 1841, I think it is, somewhere around there. And there's a lot of stuff on that. I wouldn't mind just quickly going over with you guys. Hopefully, Josh, you've got some pictures of it. I've managed to get a decent PDF that's we can zoom in, and there's some nice bits of text around the map itself, which fit in with a lot of current ideas and what we would consider revelations, like from Flat Earth Core, that seem to strike a chord in similarity of concept. So there, I've done teasing.
And where might I find these links?
I need a cigarette after all that. My goodness. That was more than a tease, man. You got me ready. Let's do this. Hurry up with that break music. I'm ready to do it.
I'll quickly send them again, Josh, and stick them in the room if we're having a break.
Sure, they're around.
Something else we need to do in the not too distant future, sir, is we need to revisit your moonlight experiment. On the day that we discussed it, there was a lot of faulty connection and bad audio, and I went back and tried to see what I could do to salvage and clean up, and we just need to, I think we need to revisit that. Maybe even add to it if you want to make it something else to, to have added to it. I don't know, but definitely that was some great stuff that we should definitely get more attention on, not just here, but out in the community for sure.
You're bleeding me with my tease.
Uh-oh.
I think to go through the moonlight experiment, which was a significant realization for me. There's loads of stuff you can read forever and ever and ever in a day, but as John often says, it's about getting off your arse and doing. And when you do something and you see it and nobody else can tell you, they can give you all the explanations for what you see, that it doesn't mean this, but I was there, I was doing the experiment, I was aware of it. And when you get that level of experience, it's very difficult to ignore your experience with a nonsensical explanation.
I agree.
And it's been I hate not knowing shit. Excuse, I've used the S word, I'm sorry.
It's a big difference.
That's our second one today, I think.
To do it
and Josh missed it
yourself, to test it yourself, compared to, there's no substitute for someone saying, I can see a lighthouse at 30 miles away, to going down to the beach and going, oh yeah, so you can.
Absolutely.
After that point, anyone that says the horizon disappears at 3 miles is, personally that they're talking shit. There you go.
Yes, sir.
One. You missed the bleeps. There you go.
Nice.
And it's the same with the moonlight experiment. I wouldn't have believed it unless I'd done it. It's the same with the gyroscope. I wouldn't have believed it unless I'd done it. And that's why you can stand in truth when you're talking about these things or defending these notions, these results. Especially when you're up against someone who hasn't tested it for themselves. So you're just like Neo side on battling these gremlins, you know, these suits who are just spouting rubbish at you. They're just throwing words at you. They're not showing you what they've done. They're not doing it themselves. They haven't done anything that can rebut what you're doing. So it becomes quite a unique position to be in, and very comforting as well.
It's good stuff. All right, well, we've got about a minute left before we're going to head to break. I just wanted to take this chance to remind everybody to listen to Billy Ray Valentine tomorrow at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on TFR Live. That's Truth Frequency Radio, iHeartRadio.com as well. That's the Infinite Fringe on TFR. Might as well take this point to go ahead and plug the upcoming show on Truth Frequency Radio called The Ironworks, hosted by yours truly and Mr. Walt Johnson, coming very, very soon, late nights on Tuesdays and Fridays. So that'll be fun. What else? How about this? How about the Savage Plane at WordPress.com for a nice little Flat Earth blog. Flat Earth Head's YouTube channel, Sweary G's YouTube channel. What else we got? All kinds of good stuff. You're a John Savage.
Full Armor has some new videos that have come out lately that have been great. So definitely go check out his stuff that's been popping up lately. Great stuff going on James's channel.
Well, you going to play one of them later?
Yes, we are.
Yeah, I think we should play one of those. It's pretty awesome. I remember that show when I was a kid, watching it on the Disney Sunday or Monday, or a Sunday night or Monday night, whatever night it used to come on. So yeah, it's pretty great. The programming started early, fellas. Oh my goodness.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Sweet. All right. Well, let's just play a little bit of Gravity. We'll go grab some coffee, hit the head, take a little break, and meet back up here. See who wants to join us. If you guys want to join us, check us out on Iron Realm on Skype, or you can just give us a call on the flat line. That's area code 304-503-FLAT, F-L-A-T. Need to spell it just in case. I don't know if flat earthers can't spell flat, but it's 3528 anyway. All right, there we go.
All right, see you on the other side.
Cheers, guys.
They won't let go of me. Let go of me. They might have gravity on their side, but something's pulling us high. Got the potential to fly. Don't let them be what holds you back from this one incredible chance. They're lucky to have had a glance at you. While you defy gravity. You can be the sun they're missing out on their rainy day. They might have gravity on their side, but something's pulling us high. Got the potential to fly. Don't let them be what holds you back from this one incredible chance. They're lucky to have had a glance at you. While you defy gravity. You defy gravity. They say we aren't strong enough. We don't have what it takes. incredible chance. They're lucky to have had a glance at you. Oh, you defy gravity. You defy gravity. You defy gravity. Yeah, yeah. At you, oh, you defy gravity.
Hold on tight. 3, 2, 1. And now, here's your host.
Can I just point out, we've got IronRealmMedia.
Oh my God, Iron Realm! Iron Realm!
Welcome back from our nice little gravity break. Hour 2, Flat Earth Friday Fringe Cast with IronRealmMedia. My name is Josh Corey. I'm here with Adam Meakin, Walt Flat Earth Head, John Sweary G Savage.
Evening. Evening.
Just a little reminder, we do have the flatline is open, 503-304-3528. If you're in the U.S., probably anywhere in North America, I suspect. Check us out, Iron Realm on Skype. Give us a Skype call. That works too. Yeah. Anybody in chat wants to hop on with us, just shoot us an email, IronRealmMedia@gmail.com. And we'll get you loaded up in here to the conversation. And it looks like YouTube wants to start messing with my uploads. Sweet.
Yeah, I was about to say something.
I don't know. Don't have any clue.
It's Friday.
Yeah, it was working like a charm for the first hour.
Apparently, you have to go on earlier in the day to have a nice stream.
Apparently, or on a different.
Yeah. I watched an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours of ODD's live stream just to see if he had the same problems that we have on Fridays with like interruptions and dropouts and things, and I didn't see anything happen. If
Well,
it did,
of course
he
not.
just covered really well. So, JS.
Because he can run a live stream with 200 viewers at any given time. And does.
It's close to 850, I believe, when I popped in to check things out.
Redonkulous. So, how about a quick little John Brahma Journey to the Edge expedition update? Which really, I think, got to be pretty quick. I don't think anybody has really spoken with him as of late. I believe Adam is the one that was most in contact and last in contact with John Brahma. So, as far as I know,
cool.
Unless it was Walt. I'm pretty sure it wasn't John.
He or I, one or the other. I know mine was maybe the month ago, the 20th, I think, of August. I'll have to double check, but something like that.
I think it was Adam in the kitchen with the lead pipe.
He did. Where's Colonel Mustard?
I noticed his last tweet was 26th of September. No, August. 26th of August. But let's not forget he may be incommunicado at the moment. It's September. He said he was going to Antarctica in September, so benefit of the doubt is still with him as far as I'm concerned. Now, come October, then hopefully we'll hear back from him.
I think that's sadly the only objective statement that can be made, John. There's lots of disappointing statements that can be made which don't prove anything either way.
No.
But I mean, I'll give you the last contact I had with John Brahma, which was, well, basically based around when Paul on the Plane produced his vid, and I received quite a long response in relation to that, and it not being down to him, and none of it, I didn't see anything in Paul on the Plane stuff that I wasn't aware of already, and it didn't reveal anything to me per se. Right. But I did see that he was quite upset by it and felt a need to defend himself, but also say I can't defend myself simply. And then there was also a reaffirmment that the mission was still on, and from my point of view, it's quite clear there's no money at this end. So any contact that I've had with him and has been on that understanding from an early stage. And so there was that. And basically the last bit of contact I've said to him is, I wouldn't take any lack of belief of your mission necessarily as an indictment. It's a little bit, it's not surprising that the people you're talking to, flat earthers, are skeptical of anything that's put to them, and that they're inquisitive of it and assess what's put in front of them. So, I appreciate John's need for secrecy, which has been quite clear. And, it underlines anybody's ability to ridicule the scheme. And I think, like John, all I would say is I sit here now still. Time is the underlying factor that will show John Brahma, won't it? Do you know what I mean? For me, anyway. Do you know what I mean? I'm not in a rush to prove it one way or the other. I've had no other discourse other than very cordial with the man. And I say the last bit was on the 26th of August. It was the last contact I had. And it was just simply a thanks, Adam. I then contacted him again on the 6th of September with regards of requesting an update. And that was on the instigation of, and I can't remember who it was, but somebody else had some other form of contact with him. So I just figured he might be inshore, whatever, and sent that, but I've not had any response, and that was the 6th of September.
Yeah, we're not a very trusting bunch, us flat earthers, I'd say. Well, speaking personally anyway, I've zero trust in anyone, but I am interested in seeing good quality evidence, and I've not seen any evidence for most of the claims made by John Brahma so far, but that's not to say that I have made any sort of conclusions on that front. I'm, like I say, benefit of the doubt. He said he would be going in September. It is September. We've not heard from him, so you know, that's as far as I'm concerned. I'll wait until we hear from him again and see where he says he is. But again, I've seen no evidence, so I have no trust. I have no reason to trust anyone at this point.
I think respectfully, John, as a mission, the thing with the John Brahma thing, true or false, it's not like Elon Musk going to space or we're going to Mars. Brahma's put a definitive timeline to this, which is an assessment of his honesty, frankly, particularly with regards to his understanding of events leading towards the end of 2017 and onwards. Do you know what I mean? It's not all, you know, it's a short window. So he of himself has defined this short window. Like I said, it's not some ever-moving timescale that we can always keep moving forward because we're going to get to Mars, but we've got to do this. You know what I mean? We've got the space suits now. We've got some really slick space suits. But you know what I mean? But
well, there was talk early on that if they didn't reach their stated £1 million funding, then either way it would be happening the next year. So that's the only inkling that I got, that it could be postponable. But like I say, we're yet to see. Yes, he has put quite a firm date on September, and fair play to him for doing that. So, you know, we'll judge him by his fruits, and we've got nothing to judge on at the moment. So, you know, like waiting for a fruit tree to bloom, let's wait a little.
That's about it. I mean, everything I requested of him has not been answered. I mean, he asked a lot of, well, us in general as a group, and
I get the feeling
on this trip, and I was very reluctant because of security issues, safety issues. I talked at length with him about this, and he could never give me any type of reassurance that was anything beyond I've got it covered. And I mean, you know, if this truth is what he says it is, and these people go and come back with all of this evidence, they are then immediately, you know, at risk. I mean, we know what happens to the whistleblowers historically: vaccine doctors, space program whistleblowers, cigarette industry whistleblowers. I mean, you pick it. There's a history of these people disappearing, usually at the hands of strange.
That to me, mate, is what gives credibility to what he's only ever talked in illusory ways, very strangely in some terms, and he's only given secondary, tertiary sources of information to back up anything he's done. And if we talk about whistleblowers, and then he talked about this, it's important that nothing that he gave, and if it was a scam, from my point of view, and this is a real plus in his point, he could have been a lot more scammy. Yeah, he's obviously not got the money he's after, and he's still, and he was given opportunities to go on Globebusters. Do you know what I mean? And if all he did was come and talk on Globebusters the way he did with those guys on numerous occasions, I'm sure he would have bumped up whatever internet funding site he had it on You know what I mean? And would have got something. But he's not behaved in that way.
Well, to be
and I
fair,
think
Adam,
lots of merit in his behaviour that adds in a positive light. It's very easy to be negative. And like I say, I'll sit and time will be the one that makes a judgment. I don't need to prejudge time.
We don't know how much money he's raised. He could have raised £500,000 from 5 different sources.
Speaking of which, I would say that Vagabond just checked his website, and that September 6th, it says the expedition has been postponed to the last quarter of the year, and half of the have been confirmed. 5 of 10 have been confirmed. So that's according to John Brahma's website.
So we're looking January now.
Oh, well, he said the last quarter of the year. So I'm guessing what's that?
Well, we're not going to know. Well, I mean, we're in the last quarter of the year, aren't we? It's 9 now.
But didn't he make it very clear that there was a time limit on when this could happen, and pretty much September was it? So now how can we magically move it to the end of the year?
Well, I remember him wanting to do it specifically in September. He was trying to get out that early because of the big event, as I recall.
Also, the last quarter of the year would tie in with summer in Antarctica. So not a bad time to go.
Summergate.
But like I say, now it's been postponed as to building those gallows until at least January.
Right, I'll read the last bit of the message from John, which is the 20th of the 8th in terms of people confirmed. We made a statement and posted it to the blog. I know who is serious and who isn't about this expedition as far as IRM is concerned, and we'll keep giving you necessary updates. But we don't need anyone to try and create any picture for us for now. We have 5 people on board as of this Saturday after the videos went out. So it doesn't matter, and I think that's alluding to Paul on the plane stuff. So it doesn't matter what anyone says. We will keep talking with real truthers. And that, like I said, is only the last significant statement of a thank you from him that I've had. But that would confirm what, was it Alba had looked at or something? That there's clearly 5 people.
Vagabond
was it? Yeah.
Well, like I say, I'm in no hurry to build a gallows.
I'm in no hurry to build a gallows either. I'm just going to say I think he's full of it. I hope to God I eat my hat when he comes back and unloads all this info and it starts coming out that how wrong I was. I'll be all right with that.
That would be awesome.
But for the time being, I'm just not buying it. Whatever empathic sort of feeling I get just says I'm not buying it. If it were real, there would be much more we could go on to be able to say, yes, this guy is in fact the real deal. Well, we can't disclose everything. We can verify he's the real deal, but none of that's been not even close to coming to anywhere near that. It's all just been blowing smoke up our rear end.
If I had any of those sort of proofs or things I was asking for, then I may have felt compelled to push it or recommend it to people or donate £5 or something along those lines. But without any evidence, any sort of further evidence than we've got, then no, I couldn't invest in it. I wouldn't say, I wouldn't go as far as to say he's full of it or anything, because I have no idea. Absolutely no idea. I don't know the guy from Adam. I know Adam quite well, actually. But
and that, John, and that genuinely is my point for all of this. I've not been able to recommend it because there's nothing solid that I can give. But the complexity of the way he spoke with us personally and the lack of evidence the complete lack of evidence, nothing for anybody to put a quid on, to me is strange. Do you know what I mean? The lack of anything that would give a hoper even just a $5 punt. Yeah, do you know what I mean? I'll go on then. Do you know what I mean? I've seen people.
It's the Joker in the whole thing, isn't it? It's the reason why I won't say he's full of it, and the reason why I won't say go for it, is because it sort of contradicts itself. Yeah, they don't want to go on Globebusters. They don't want to provide any evidence. They're there's something curveball about the whole thing. But like I said, they're not getting any money off me because I haven't got any and I've got no trust.
Right.
So I've got nothing to lose in it. So I'm quite happy to wait until January and see what he says, see what he's got. If they come back triumphant to a ticker tape parade, great, fantastic. If they, all get sunk on a mystery boat close to the Antarctic, and then we might sit here and go, well, that could have, maybe they were onto something. But yeah, let's sit back and wait, I'd say.
It's just disheartening, like I said, to have so much drive for this to be what he alleges it to be. I mean, when he came and we presented it, we were all ready to see more and to have that ability to then go, do this, guys, send the money to this guy. We're ready to go with him too. And I mean, even at a point to where he was engaging me to help with the fundraising. And I was like, well, I can't go any further with this unless we can do X thing, which would have led me to be, confirmed that he had done some things he said he had done. And I could have easily verified it. And he never would do that. It was easily done. It would not reveal anything at all. I don't want to go into it on the air, but, and he wouldn't do that simple thing. And I, at that point, told him, well, I can't then get up behind your crowdfunding. That would be like me lying, saying I have something I don't have to prove it. And I don't. So, yeah.
There were a number of suggestions that we put forward, wasn't there, in terms of crowdfunding that would have enabled us
easily
to be more positive, and you know what I mean, and that secured the money safely upon their return, and that was a negative in the negative column. There wasn't a response to that. There was almost not a rejection of it. There was almost a skirting around the subject and moving on to something else on a couple of occasions. That was so.
Well, there was.
John says, we sit here and we wait. Yeah, I'm sorry.
Well, there was. He openly agreed to the escrow account, or what do they call it, Adam?
Well, I suggested a secure holding account, basically, for the funds upon return.
And he agreed, but then later he came back, said he had a meeting with these guys and they disagreed, so they'd have to say no to that. Just for the record.
Oh, that's correct. Yeah.
Right. Well, there you go. I mean, that seems to be the update that we can give you guys at this point. We know what we've shared.
It's almost
I've sent out additional messages hoping to get some type of response. Actually, over the last few weeks, I have not received anything. So maybe he is incognito or incommunicado or just headed out across the ice and just saying it's been postponed. That would be a nice subterfuge. Sorry, too much coffee. So, yeah, maybe he's just saying that to trick everyone. Who knows?
It's almost as if he didn't have
Calcutta. Sorry, I'm being sarcastic, John.
Sorry, I didn't hear that.
I said he could just be in Calcutta. And that's a real possibility. Nobody's ever sat here. We've all sat here hoping it would be true, but no one, I think, sat ever believing it was true. But we've all sat with our fingers crossed. Do you know what I mean? And
I know one of our members who believed it to be quite true, sir.
Yeah, I think I had moments of belief as well, and certain, and again, it lends to John's credibility. So, you know, he sat here with us in conversation, talking in detail about stuff, and he was coherent and fluent in answers. And that's been on a number of topics, guys, over a number of time with bits and bobs. And that, for me, is 4 or 5 ticks. He's either the most up-to-date flat earther that's out there and an exceptionally well-versed flat earther, which is not beyond the realms of credibility, do you know what I mean? But he was exceptionally well-versed in many, many things and set us, some of us off in different directions, which we've agreed are quite true as well. So
to the point where it could be proposed that he was professionally trained.
Yes, totally.
Or genuine.
Yes, totally.
Which is why it's so difficult.
Yeah.
Down to the accent, and like you say, he had an air. I was speaking to him in past tense now. He's got an air of command about him, you know, as though if you were talking to the commander or the captain of a ship, you know, they don't tell you everything. They're not chatty. They're not this, that, and the other. They tell you what you need to know, and that's it, you know. Go ahead, Jane. Sorry, Walt.
Walt, I think you might be muted.
Oh, I certainly, absolutely was. I do apologize.
It worked though, didn't it?
Absolutely. I've had a guy that I've talked to over the last year, I guess, on Twitter. He's been quite nice, polite, asking very intelligent questions, not being overly hair-headed, if you will. And he is available for a link if you guys are game, but I just don't want to, I kind of don't want to step on what Adam had planned at the moment, so we can try to do that a little bit later.
Who is it? Walt? Who is it?
Get him lined up, mate. I've not got anything in depth. I just got a little bit of geeky reading I just wanted to share with people.
Geek out, my friend. I've been waiting.
You know what I mean?
Have you got a name, Walt?
Yes, sir. I do. I'm trying to get back to my Twitter account here. He goes by Ison Tracker on Twitter.
Right, yeah. It's blocked my end.
There you go. He and I have been DMing quite a bit for some time now.
It's off the plane. He's blocked your end.
You don't block anyone, though, Walt.
Never have, sir. Never will.
No, I'm the same. I don't know where the block button is. What would be the point? Gives people satisfaction.
Exactly. I figured that out early on. I would rather just ignore them instead of that, giving them the satisfaction. So
I block people who are a waste of time and who call other people names, basically because I don't want them on my timeline.
Well,
but definitely, Adam, proceed, Adam. I would love to hear your geekiness.
But don't get me wrong. If you want to invite Ison Tracker on, go for it.
Yeah, jump him on, man. So, like I said, this is just something I'd just been reading. I was sat chilling in a cafe, and when you get 5 minutes, I just thought, again, it's down to Teresa. I say she sent me some really fantastic links to somebody who's bothered to resource a lot of stuff. And one of the first things was the Middleton map of the world. So I'm just sat in a cafe, just sort of bothered to read it. And it was at the time that was the Flat Earth Cora talking about this, the movement of the apparent sun based on a toroidal magnetic field. And it's not that in depth, but there are certain things in there that I think are quite pertinent for today still. Like a lot of the old texts you read, you think, well, that could have been written last week. How could it be ignored? Do you know what I mean? So I don't know if you've got the pictures there, Josh, that you can put up.
I do.
I need help because I'm banned from reading anything from text because I'm too monotoned that even I fall asleep whilst listening to myself. So have we got a reader, a narrator?
I bet you we've got one somewhere.
No one.
I'm trying to find a way to hear these.
You know you want. I'm the same, Adam. I can't read.
Let's hear your dulcet tones, Josh. I'm so caffeinated right now, I'm afraid I would definitely garble it.
Well, let's see if I can find the right one to start with. They're not wanting to play for me like I'd hoped.
As Flat Earth Friday continues. Yeah, I'm actually having a little issue with my computer right now. I was trying to push that link over, and I'm afraid I am going.
So he's gone.
Oh, just dropped.
Yeah. I don't see ISON tracker in the chat or anything.
All right, I'm back on. Sorry, I'm having trouble here. Give me a few seconds. Read away, Josh, while I'm getting that all set up.
I'm just trying to figure out where I should start. I see one, but the page is kind of missing, so I can't really read it too well without the whole.
The first page is in of itself intriguing, mate. That it's missing. There's a chunk missing, and I searched for ages after this to see if there was any other copies that haven't got that bit missing. But I think it's kind of apparent what it says if you ignore the need to know exactly. If you know what I mean.
Yeah. So I see something, and I can just make out the word map, and it said should be both respected and supported. For without the courageous initiative of something, and more correct maps could hardly follow. The room for improvement, keeping something, is very considerable. So much so that a satisfactory skeleton may be regarded something for many years. This map is put forward simply as conveying a healthy idea of Earth, and it also gives a good political and commercial representation. For maybe a direct route to Australia through Russia, and the route to India across something route to Sydney by New York and San Francisco, though there should be something Canada.
I've got those bits. I bothered to plot those out. And I think I forgot to send you the picture of the actual map. So I'll forward that one on now. And that's kind of the point of that one. Basically, they, from a little bit of study of that and bothering to try and plot what he was saying, he's talking everything's, as always, Britain is the centre of the universe, certainly back then. So if you put it into context, that at every point he's talking about from London. So he's talking routes from London, and I've on a piece of paper here, I've kind of jotted it all down and just done some routes. And he is just basically describing straight lines on his map, or slightly arced lines that, like I say, wouldn't necessarily make sense on the globe. I've sent the picture of the map. And that's kind of the first. So you see there, he's already in disagreement with the globe, and he raises further disagreement later. But the initially interesting point, if you can, I don't know if you've got that yet, Josh, the picture, if you see it, of the map, if you can put that up.
Of the whole one?
Yeah. I've got a screenshot of it.
Sorry, I have so many windows open.
Well, basically, it's very similar to a Gleason's, but there are a number of noticeable differences. The first is the path of the sun is elliptical. Not what I'd describe like a phi-shaped ellipse, but certainly similar. And as he says, it's very crude, based on reality. So this seems to be been plotted based on life experiences and descriptions of times and routes and how to get from somewhere to the other based on trade. And the other really important, interesting point of the map is the orientation of South America. So for me, it's the one that makes the Australia-South America flights even more possible. And I think it's based on this twisted or changed shape of the path of the sun, so it's not a circle. Have you got that there, Josh?
I do. I have it set up. People on YouTube are seeing it.
Sweet. So that's it. And if you bother to those descriptions of routes, you've basically got lines heading towards Australia and India that are just straight lines from London across the continents through those areas they're describing. So that's kind of what that first paragraph's about. And I think also a plea to say, I think the first bit, the room for improvement, keeping blah, 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 is very considerable. So it's an admission that this is a exceedingly crude map. So much so that a satisfactory skeleton may be regarded blah, 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 as correct maybe in many years. Do you know what I mean? It's basically saying it's fundamentally correct what I'm showing you, but the detail needs to be improved. And it's an imploring to do so, isn't it? So there's no arrogance there, I don't think, in terms of its definitiveness. I need your help again, mate. If you go, can you go to slide 2, which is the bottom left of the map? And this bit's a bit long-winded, but if you kind of read the first 10 lines, that's the bit that's talking about the map. A bit later on, he's getting into a lot more of the political importance of ensuring your maps are accurate. But what he does say in that bit is he alludes to the importance, again, strangely, for the importance for the British Empire of Afghanistan. And if you think over the years that we've lived, from the mid-80s with the Mujahideen, you know, Afghanistan has been fought over pointlessly. What for? A shitload of pointless rocks. It's a very strange thing that people constantly fight over. So to allude back to it here and its importance, I thought was quite interesting. But a lot of it's based on his concern that Russia's going to usurp the British Empire, as you might say. But
so you just want the first 10 lines or so?
Yeah, it's that first bit. After that relates to the map. After that, like I said, it gets into this kind of political stuff, which I thought is interesting, but it's more supposition as opposed to related to the map.
This map is the result of a very great intellectual effort, which, of the nature of inspiration, could alone be sufficiently powerful to lift my conception of the general lay of continents out of the established, but totally erroneous, arrangement given of the world as published on the globe itself, or its numerous representation as Mercator's charts and maps, all of which were founded on the mischievous theory of a rotating Earth and a stationary sun. First of all, that's a crap sentence. The configuration is set forth as stationary and will with a traveling sun is entirely different from the map, from the more mere result of flattening out the globe. I throw great importance into this because it is the point of the first political necessity for the able and safe control of the British Empire. It has been universally thought that the positions of the continents would be much the same on the stationary and extended Earth as a flattened out representation of the globe, whereas there is a great political difference of the first importance to England.
That about sums it up before it gets too far. But I think the point he's trying to make there is that you can't roll the globe out and travel on it. is the first thing is saying that you can't transpose maps from the globe, but he's also saying the globe's a load of nonsense, isn't he?
Mm-hmm.
Now,
that's what I took from it. Anyway.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, well, let me just see. There's another one still. Yeah, we still have a couple more.
So
this one?
The next bit is the bottom. The next pages 3 and 4. I had to take a couple of shots of it. And it's probably not worth pulling up, Josh. It's a very strange ode to his. It's kind of like a homage to his family roots and stuff. And like I said, there's a lot of stuff in there, and it's a very odd thing to spend a quarter of the text putting in. But there's an old poem that he read as a child that he finds out is written by a member of his family, and it kind of alludes that they've got a kind of nautical past. But again, it's very much just a personal rambling, that bit, so it's probably not worth going into any great detail on. If you can put the one that's, what will be the 5th one I sent, that's the top right picture, and that's the one that I think kind of is interesting because it kind of points to what we're all talking about. Talks about the magnetic north, what it is, and kind of alluding to it, that there is no fixed position. And like I say, stuff that I've only just, recently started to become aware of and even thought of, and to know that it's written back in the 1840s. Again, it's a great demonstration of how supposed scientific inquiry is being suppressed, because this is valid stuff that's written then. For it not to have been built on is very strange for me. But can you read it again for us, Josh?
Sure. It says, this author hopes this map will rouse attention to the variation of the needle in connection with the map making, and thus lead to the recognition of a planar or extended shape of the Earth. The globe is the result of total disregard of the variation of the needle, and it has been construed on the erroneous idea that the needle always points to a central north.
Yeah, so that's... Sorry.
No, I can say the only method by which the longitudes can be reckoned from the center is to add the variation to the course steered. In some rare cases, the variation may have to be deducted for the geographical purposes. The sun's path is either elliptical and...
I read that as eccentric.
I think that's
or
right.
Conforms to the path of a boomerang. I have to kind of look that up.
That's it. Eccentric with central north, or it confirms somewhat to the course of a boomerang. This latter idea, I believe, shared by a good many people. See, I don't know.
Well, I mean, the first thing I say is, so the globe's been about for 500 years as a solid concept, and it's just solid evidence. It hasn't, has it? This is rewriting of history. This is actually, all those people years ago that you can't check up on now did believe this, honest. Whereas actually this is evidence that it was just ridiculed and actually questioned with the scrutiny that we're asking now, and looking at details that we're looking at now. We're looking at it from with more scientific kit. We've got mobile phones. We can look at the compass reading. You know what I mean? But it's the same stuff he's talking about, the variation of the needle, where we've got NASA claiming it's the movement of stuff. But again, that alludes to what I've seen in that flat Earth core vid.
Josh? Sorry,
yes,
Adam.
Yeah.
Did you see the that 1900 newspaper article I put in the links?
I did.
Fancy doing a bit more reading? Because that comes into play here in terms of, we're told that they've known for 2,400 years that the Earth is a ball, blah, blah, blah. But yet we have proof such as letters from prime ministers during the Boer War, wondering why Coriolis effect isn't happening with their long-range artillery. We have books like Samuel Rowbotham's book in 90s, and then you've got in the 1900s I can't remember what it was, the newspaper, the name of the newspaper, but it was an article talking about a bunch of parents in Portsmouth area taking the head of the government head of education to court for teaching the nonsense of a ball earth. And that was in 1900. So we're talking 117 years ago. This was still in dispute. And it was, even if you read George Orwell, talking, he wrote a long article, I think it was 1934, about how he didn't know that he lived on a spinning ball, that he couldn't prove it. If he was honest to himself, he couldn't prove it. So the notion that this has been known to be a spinning ball for millennia is absolutely thrown out by the fact that we can bring up these old publications. Have you got the one I'm talking about?
I believe I do.
Cool. Because I don't see any reason why what these people did in Portsmouth, UK, I don't see any reason why we shouldn't be doing exactly the same right now to our head of education. So if you could give that a little read, that'd be awesome.
Absolutely. So the headline says Earth is round and he may be thrown into prison. So it is painful to read. Sir John Gorst, the head of the British Education Department, is in serious trouble and has been threatened by Mr. Ebenezer Breach and other taxpayers of the city of Portsmouth in the Kingdom of England with prosecution under the Impostors Act. It seems that the schools of Portsmouth have been teaching the damnable and heretical doctrine that the earth is a sphere. Sir John's attention has been called to this dissemination of seditious and treasonable... Sorry, I can't read this very well. I need to get my laptop. Doctrine.
It's a bit old English, yeah.
But he has refused to correct the abuse. Ebenezer and his friends know, of course, that the earth is as flat as a pancake. They have been patient with Sir John and day after day have allowed the false teaching regarding the shape of the earth to go on, but can stand it no longer. They say to see the children corrupted with this most heretical doctrine, as the complainants call it in this protest. Sir John Gorst has many political enemies, and even in the political friends do not always agree with him. But the depth of his depravity was not known until he was unmasked by Mr. Ebenezer Breach and his friends. Sir John may cavort about Parliament and deceive some people, but when he runs up against a body of respectable British taxpayers, the bulwarks of the throne and the guardsmen of the Constitution, it is another matter. Such newfangled ideas as that of the earth being a sphere, he may impose upon the frivolous persons who riot in the ungodly city of London, but not upon the taxpayers of Southampton. Ebenezer and his friends mean business, and have served formal notice upon the Portsmouth School Board that the teaching that the earth is a sphere cannot be allowed to continue under any circumstances, plea, or explanation whatever, and that it must be abandoned under the pain of the punishment for schism by law provided. After having attempted out the dastardly doctrine that the schools of Southampton, the committee announces that they will next go to London and bring the London School Board before the courts. Being well advised and informed that the same doctrine regarding the shape of the earth is also taught in London schools. Sir John, meantime, is to be brought to court and prosecuted under the Impostor Act aforesaid. Now, the Impostors Act is a part of the British Constitution. Probably. No one knows what it is and what it is not a part of that nebulous thing. And in provision, certain pains and penalties, such as forfeiture of estate and burning at the stake, if recantant. No, that's not the right. I can't even read that. Ebenezer and his friends are worthy and reputable citizens and mean business. If necessary, they will light the fires of Smithsfield again for the wicked Sir John. At last accounts, Sir John was still at large, and so was Ebenezer. Well, that was painful, but I made it through.
No, you did brilliantly. Way better than I could. Isn't that funny, though?
That is hilarious.
I'm not condoning burning at the stake for anyone, by the way. That, to me, is cruel and... What is it they say? Cruel and unfair punishment or something?
Something I'd have to pull it back up and zoom back in.
Well, two things. That was 1900. So two things I'm going to be doing is looking into the Imposters Act. And I did note that he made a jibe saying this is what they teach them in the city of London. Not London itself, the city of London. I thought that was quite interesting. I think that was a deliberate jibe. But yeah, I thought that was quite interesting. I've tried to validate it. The guy, Sir John Gorst or whatever, did exist. He was head of education from, I think it was 1896 to 1902. But in all the autobiographies and everything I was reading on him on that time period, I couldn't come up with anywhere where this was brought to court or there was any sort of press about it. But then I haven't gone through the archives of the microfiche in the archives. So yeah, an interesting train of study. It sort of sounds semi tongue-in-cheek, but again, I don't know. And I'll be looking into the British Constitution, as fluffy and as useless as that is, and this Imposters Act. But yeah, I thought that was interesting.
It does have a certain Onion radio news vibe to it that just makes you think, yeah, this is more sort of very...
It's either that or it's what I alluded to, that the concept was a lot more alien than it's painted to us today within society.
That's exactly why I brought it up. Yeah, because it could well be the opposite. The fact it could well be that these articles and this opinion was commonplace back then. But as we know, the victors write history, so who knows what's true?
No, I think you're right. That does actually sound a bit more likely than sort of a 1900s version of the National Enquirer, that it's probably just, it was more widely believed. And this is probably more along the lines of the general public's train of thought than we are taught and led to believe.
Oh, if you actually listen to the language in it, if it was a bit of satire, it's very inflammatory satire and very Baptist kind of theology based, isn't it? It's very, you are being blasphemous, you're suggesting non-biblical things, and it's written in a context that the earth is flat.
Yes, it is
these
biblical
suggestions
based.
are preposterous. Yeah, so it is either a version of not the 9 o'clock news sort of thing, a kind of a total satire, or it's actually probably reflective. And if it's been published in a newspaper and you read from the language, it's very straight-laced. It seems genuine. So to me, it would be reflective of the general understanding of things, as opposed to what we would be led to believe.
Yeah, I mean, let's not forget we had a whole city in the US that was flat Earth based under Voliva. I can't remember what year that was, but you literally couldn't live there unless you acknowledged that the Earth was flat, and they had signposts on the outskirts of town, no no doctors allowed, no booze, no tobacco, no. Well, I mean, they were serious fundamentalist sort of things, but it was called Zion. The city was called Zion.
Interesting.
Yeah, exactly. It was. I think it was quite close to Chicago, maybe. The city was called Zion, and the head founder of it was Voliva, Vovoila, maybe. IL. Oh yeah, I'm useless at that, but yeah, very very easy bloke to find. I can't remember his first name, Voliva. But he's the sort of flat earther you don't want to sit down and have a beer with. Well, you wouldn't have a beer with him, he'd have you hung. But yeah, bringing it to the absolute alternative extreme. Has no one heard of Voliva?
That does not sound at all
Not
familiar.
ringing a bell at all. I'll have to look into it for sure.
My silence is telling, John. No, it's not.
Well, he was the guy he was putting out newspapers and leaflets and pamphlets and this sort of thing. He was the guy that I use his drawings as in my tweets quite often when people say, you know, Aristophanes could work out that the world was a sphere back in whatever it was, 2400 BC. You know, using sticks and shadows, and Voliva was the guy who put out a really good graphic showing that it would work with a close and small sun just as well as it would work with a distant and huge sun.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. I mean, he had a lot of the science and
Send me some
that.
links, definitely.
Yeah, well, okay. Chat amongst yourselves, and I'll bung a couple up.
Oh yeah, it went later, not at the moment. I always like to find stuff like that shows that, because how many times, like you said, how many times does it get thrown at us that, oh, this has been figured out for thousands of years, you moron, that the ball and the spinning and the sun in the middle. What's wrong with you? I mean, even Copernicus, you know, who was the champion of it all. They all, you know, he figured it out. It was dead set. I mean, he died being ridiculed, you know, with his theory. Yeah. It was like 70, 80 years later before it was adopted by the Catholic Church or whatever. They were, you know, still making fun of it. I think even Martin Luther himself was denying the heliocentric model in the 1500s.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
It was adopted so late and then pushed forward with the indoctrination and the.
Well, there's a classic letter from the British Prime Minister, whose name was Lord Palmerston. And this was, you know, sort of mid-1800s during the Boer War, and he was questioning the head of the army, who was Lord, I can't remember his name now, probably Warburg, but he was questioning him as to, you know, if the Earth is spinning at 1,000 miles an hour at the equator, how come we don't have to take this into account while we're firing our cannons 7 miles into Paris or whatever it was? I'm not, you know, a aficionado on wars or Boer Wars or wherever it was, but this is an easily researched letter you can find, and you know there was no response. They couldn't. He ordered them to fire cannons east, west, north, and south, and to measure, you know, how far away the cannonballs landed and that sort of thing. And every time there was no difference between east, west, north, and south. And he was like, "Why? How? Why? How is this so?" You know, and that was the Prime Minister, for crying out loud.
But again, something you'd expect to be taught, wouldn't it? A prime ministerial order to assess the rotation of the Earth that's hidden. I've not heard of that one, John. That's
right. I'll yeah, bear with me.
Yeah, you certainly would think that's something that would be taught.
The Boer War. Did you say it was the Boer War?
I do see ISON Tracker in chat saying it Wilburglin Voliva. Voliva.
Right, I would like also say that ISON Tracker is not blocked. But as far as I can see, he hasn't tweeted for a long time.
He said he's got a 15-minute break is when he was trying to get on earlier. So unless we're going to be going super late, he may not be able to hop on with us today. I was going to wait a little bit later to bring that up. So we'll try and get him on again if we can't work it out tonight. I told him it depends on the flow, if we're here till 9 or not.
Well, there is something that might drag us out a little bit, and that if Josh can line it up, is that video from that flat earther that posted a wicked flat earth proof this week on I think it was just a GIF on Twitter, wasn't it, with the
from the Science Earth?
Yeah.
The cement representation of the scale model, is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, and you know how I hate not to know something, and I hate looking at pictures. And
we need to go into that. Sure, I love it.
So I've got some pictures, guys, that I've done that I can screen share and maybe show you the results of that video, which I just thought was great from somebody who's gone out there in a positive way and kind of proved flat earth for people in another way that's really good on a scale model. So I did a bit of maths as well, but if we can get the vid, I'll ramble through it. But do you know the name of the person, Walt?
I will find it right now, sir.
It's wicked.
Anytime there's a good flat earth proof, we'll give them a shout out. Hang on, I'll find it. I'll have to go back in my tweets, talk amongst yourselves.
Right.
Wow.
So I'm actually getting the Hangout set up so that when you screen share, everyone can see.
I'll better get ready.
There, like old school IRM, just a Hangout.
Isn't it?
Bugger, I was muted there. I don't know what you heard. I started reading this. Can you see what I'm seeing? I shared something.
I was just about to say, what have you stuck up there? I'd just seen.
I was going.
Mr. Palm.
I asked Josh to read it out, but I didn't realise I was muted. But it's the Palmerston thing. The Prime Minister, his quote from December 20th, 1857. And it says, during the period of the Crimean War, the subject of gunnery in connection with the Earth's rotation was one which occupied the attention of many philosophers, as well as artillery officers and statesmen. About this time, Lord Palmerston, as Prime Minister, wrote the following letter to Lord Panmure, the Secretary of War. December 20th, 1857. And I was hoping Josh would read that, if he's around.
My dear Mr. Panmure, there is an investigation which it would be important and at the same time easy to make, and that is whether the rotation of the Earth on its axis has any effect on the curve of a cannonball in its flight. One should suppose that it has, and that while the cannonball is flying in the air, impelled by the gunpowder in a straight line from the cannon's mouth, the ball would not follow the rotation of the Earth in the same manner which it would do if lying at rest at the Earth's surface. If this be so, a ball fired in the meridional direction, that is to say due south or due north, ought to derivate to the west of the object at which it was. At which it was aimed. Because during the time of flight, that object will have gone to the east somewhat faster than the cannonball will have done. In like manner, the ball fired due east ought to fly less far upon the Earth's surface than a ball fired due west. The charges being equal and the elevation being the same and the atmosphere perfectly still, It must be remembered, however, that the ball, even after it has left the cannon's mouth, will retain the motion west to east, which it has before received by the rotation of the earth on whose surface it was, and it is possible, therefore, that except at the very long ranges, the derivations above mentioned may in practice turn out to be very small and not deserving the attention of an artilleryman. The trial might be easily made in any place which a free circle of a mile or more radius could be obtained, and a cannon placed in the center of that circle and fired alternately north, south, east, and west with equal charges would afford the means of ascertaining whether each shot flew in the same distance or not. Yours sincerely, Palmerston.
Wow, they could talk back then, couldn't they?
Yeah.
You did brilliantly.
I particularly like
by
the
the way.
start, Josh. Yeah, my dear.
Yeah, my dear. Isn't that quite telling? That's quite a thing.
That is quite a thing. Maybe we should get a cannon. Run our test of our own.
Hell yeah. Sounds good, but we're in the UK.
It's
We'd
quite a
be
thing.
shocked.
It's quite a thing that there isn't a scientific community's response to it that proves the Coriolis effect as well in the logs, isn't it? That there isn't a...
Well, it's quite a thing that there isn't an optical test that can prove the spin of the Earth. It's quite a thing that we don't have a photo of the entire Earth in one shot.
Isn't this something, you talk about doing real science. It's not something you can do in the UK, but isn't this something you American boys can do? Go and get yourself a cannon or something similar.
Oh, you're damn right we can.
Go on, Josh. I've done my moonlight.
While you still can.
Yeah.
You know what? All I would really need is just the space. I can't imagine it's that hard to come across a nice, solid-sized cannon.
Well, from experiments that I've seen where they fire cannon directly up, perpendicular to the ground, that they stay in the air for like 30 plus seconds and they come down, and very often they land within feet, if not right back in the barrel. And that's another quote from a long time ago when they did it.
Yes, sir.
I mean, that's just ridiculous.
Would a catapult or a trebuchet be?
It would have to. A trebuchet throws it out on a trajectory, doesn't it?
A
catapult would be fine, I'd say, as long as you could line it up to be exactly vertical.
There's a Renaissance fair going on this time of the year somewhere nearby. I just saw some commercials for it. So let me get on Facebook and see what I can figure out, because I don't know about cannons. But.
As a young, dumb, stupid child, I used to play with bow and arrows, and had a really good composite sort of fiberglass bow and arrow that I managed to buy behind my parents' back, and would take out into the park and fire it straight up in the air, and then go like an idiot, and then go running under the trees, and it would be up in the air for 5 or 10 seconds at least, but it wouldn't fall anywhere. I mean, if you did the maths on that sort of thing, it should be falling, probably 50 to 100 meters away from you if you're firing it straight up. I mean, that's just anecdotal evidence, but it could be done.
I'll work it out. Give me
quite well.
Remember lawn darts here in the U.S., Josh? I don't know if you guys had that in the U.K., but
all too well.
Yeah, they were literally like huge hand, or bigger than your hand, actually, about the length of your forearm when you were a kid, darts with huge metal spikes on the end that you literally would hurl through the air across the yard at targets. And of course, being kids, we would do the same thing, hurl those straight up in the air, and then everybody, run for cover.
Wow, cool. No, we never had them. We had axe throwing over here in the old ye olde Royal Oak.
Jarts, was that what it was called? Jarts?
My kids were axe throwing a couple of years ago at some sort of meet-up or whatever. But yeah, those are the sort of things. You know, you fire something up in the air. So if you fire an arrow from a bow in the air and it stays in the air for 10 seconds, you're literally talking tens and tens of meters. I'd hazard 100+ meters of Earth's travel if you're on the equator, or even if you're up here 50 whatever
this
degrees
is
north.
where it gets silly, John. Because I've just done that and I've just double checked myself. What do you want? 1,000 miles an hour at the equator, or 400 in the UK, or
Yeah, let's
what?
do 400 in the UK. That's where Lord Palmerston was talking about, and where the
400 miles
previous
an hour.
experiments were done.
So
400
divided by
miles
60
an hour.
is 6 point. Oh, it's that demonic numbers come out again. 6.666 miles per minute. So divide that by 60. 0.111 recurring miles per second. So you say, let's say 5 seconds. So that's half a mile.
How'd you get to that? Sorry, so 0.1 was what per second?
It's 0.111 reoccurring miles per second.
Okay.
So if it goes up for 5 seconds, it's half a mile.
Yeah.
It should.
That sounds excessive, but it actually works out, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, it's the inertia thing as well. Is that they're like, you know, you're firing it from a moving surface. But okay, if you fire an arrow from the back of a flatbed truck up into the air, that arrow's going to fall behind you, because although it had the initial inertia of you travelling on the back of a flatbed lorry, then that's going to tail off as it goes up and away from you. And this is where I was talking earlier in the week on Twitter about rockets. Even if you fired them to the east, which the Earth is apparently rotating towards, at some point they're going to tail off to the west, because you have more inertia than the rocket has. As soon as it leaves the Earth, it's going to lose the forward momentum and inertia or whatever that it's got, and tail away. People agree with that or not?
Yeah. And you
Absolutely.
can take it further, can't you? Because if you're going to then, it's kind of it's the revolving atmosphere thing, isn't it? It's kind of they've not even settled on their own definitive answer of what stuff does. Is there? There isn't there, because you've got revolving atmosphere, and if all of this is linked to the magical force, then the magical force is related to distance away. So that should all change the higher up in the atmosphere you go.
Yeah, it's the difference between the Velcro atmosphere, which is what they claim, is that the air column above you moves completely in sync with you no matter what height you're at. And then there's the contradiction of the Coriolis effect, where things are, you shoot something north or south of the equator, it's going to be traveling left or right. Vice versa. So yeah, it's there's a lot that doesn't work, put it that way.
So in chat we have Brenda von Osten saying she can easily prove the curve.
Excellent, thanks. Do it.
Well, she would like to come on and do it for us.
Absolutely.
All right, Brenda. Stand by.
I'm surrounded by Mission Impossible spiders. They're just diving down from the ceiling, diving down, diving back up. They're just everywhere.
That's crazy. I couldn't handle that. Oh no.
I met a good 5-inch diameter one in the shed the other night.
Oh no! See, that's when you move.
No, that's when you give them a large blowback and tell them that they should move. My shed.
So John, that's why they're all coming, aren't they? It's like, do you know where you can score? Yeah.
Right.
Probably, yeah. You know, go up,
like,
harass
did
this
you see
guy.
The web? Right. Did you
He'll
see
give
the
you
web?
a massive blowback. It was in the bath. I'm sure it was the same spider, and I left a chain to get out of the bath, but it didn't take the chain, so the wife had to evict it the next morning with a jam jar or whatever. So obviously I'm filling space here. If you've got something important to say, George, go ahead.
Nope. I'm just gonna let you dangle in the wind and see how far you can take it.
See how far that web will go, right?
Dangling away. Yeah. Spiders are amazing, though, aren't they? How do they do?
They are. They are.
Be forthcoming.
I am both repelled and intrigued by them. I've done lots of study because I find them so horrible.
They can almost spin a line as fast as gravity. To be fair, I mean, how do they do that?
Brenda... And the fact that it's liquid and then turns into the webbing and just the whole thing is just pretty mind blowing.
Amazing. Don't like the ones in Australia though. They scare the crap out of me. Or Africa. I don't like them either.
Well, here's what's interesting are the spiders that Rob is scared of. I am probably surrounded by, even as we speak, those little brown recluse spiders that'll rot.
Yeah, those yeah.
Do they
bite
you?
Oh yeah.
Oh, they'll bite you and mess you up.
Alba, I try not to kill spiders. I really dig spiders. I hate mosquitoes. We have mosquitoes here in Missouri that are so big they could stand flat-footed and F a dog. So I don't kill spiders because a spider will eat a mosquito. So long live the spiders.
Yeah, I don't kill anything.
Raw.
Have we been joined by someone? Have you managed to do it?
Yes.
Yeah.
It looks like we have. Welcome.
Brenda, welcome.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening.
How on earth did you...
I'm a ball earther.
Well, that's okay. We won't hold that against you. We welcome all flat earth deniers.
How did you hear about us, Brenda?
I usually search YouTube with Flat Earth, and I search for live hangouts, and join those that I can, and do my best to debate with the people in there.
So you've done this before?
Yes.
You've actually been on here before, haven't you, Brenda?
I don't remember, since I talked to a lot of people. I don't recall.
I'm a big Princess Mononoke fan. I remember your avatar and your voice quite well.
Okay.
Excellent. And you say you can prove the curvature quite easily to us.
Well, sure. We can simply just look at Soundly's videos and his photos. They conclusively show. Yeah.
So that's where we're gonna go. We're gonna go with Lake Pontchartrain.
All right. So those have been soundly debunked by many people.
How have they been debunked?
Well, shall we watch Dr. Zach's video first, or Glowbusters? Which one, guys?
Well, if Brenda doesn't know already how this... can I ask, Brenda, have you watched any videos that claim to debunk Soundly's work?
No.
Okay, thank you.
Why would I need to?
To find out
It would
why
be scientific, wouldn't it?
No.
The objective.
But put yourself behind these videos. That'd be a good reason why.
See, I know that astrology is not real, but I don't have to read what astrologers say to know that what they claim is not factual. In the same way, I don't have to read or listen to what flat earthers say to know that their claims are false.
That makes a lot of sense, Brenda. How is it you know astrology is not real? How do you know that?
Well, before we disappear down that rabbit hole, why are you here then, Brenda, if you don't need to listen to flat earthers because you know they're wrong? Why are you here?
Because I enjoy
a one-sided conversation?
I enjoy debating things.
That you don't know anything about?
Improving my debate. I do know a great deal about it, but
you haven't researched flat Earth.
I don't need to know.
How have you researched flat Earth if you haven't researched anything that rebukes Soundly's content?
Because I know they haven't. For the same reason, I don't need to research the people who claim that 2 + 2 does not equal 4.
Well, then I ask again, why are you here?
There's an infinite number of people, a number of solutions that are false to 2 + 2 = 4. So I don't need to know those. I simply need to know why it is that 2 + 2 does in fact equal 4. Right?
But doesn't understanding why methods of why 2 + 1 doesn't equal 4, doesn't that confirm why 2 + 2 does equal 4?
But without going down that rabbit hole,
frankly, respectfully, you've just come on and said, "I'm not a scientist. I'm a believer in something."
Neither are you.
How do you know?
Yes,
actually, you are incorrect.
That's
what's
your opinion.
degree in? What's your degree in then?
It's not relevant.
Pharmacy.
It's not relevant. The point is, why are you here? If not just to troll.
I'm here. I enjoy debating.
Yes,
sharpening
debating. Okay. If you want to debate
the truth of what I believe,
if you want to debate, then how about you debate that the Earth is flat and stationary, and we debate that the Earth is a spinning ball?
There we go.
Because I don't think you've actually researched the stationary plane model enough to be able to debate it, because you've already said you don't care to watch any rebuttal videos because you already know astrology is bunk, because I mean, I'm not seeing much in the terms of debating skills here.
We've dispensed with faith-based things here.
So,
we go with evidence.
Yeah, I am based entirely on logic and reason. Yes,
but it seems a very faith-based.
Should we stop then and let you present some of your evidence other than Soundly's spurious claims? Because that's not your evidence. That's something that you've been told is true without you being able to confirm the angle of the camera. I mean, there's lots of questions with it, whether it's even genuine, but even the perspectives are an issue. But could we not just start with you presenting some of your evidence? I've got some that I was going to show, but in an open, honest, scientific way, that I've watched the video and done some analysis on it. But maybe you could lead the way, and then I could...
How do I share my screen? Share my screen? That's weird. How come it doesn't? I don't know why it does that.
That being said, you are on IronRealMedia's Flat Earth Friday Frenchcast, so you can expect probably some technical difficulties, as they do tend to occur every Friday.
Okay. I don't know if you can see this.
Yep, see it. Got it.
Yeah. Yeah. There you go. That's the curvature.
Based on...
Well, you can see it.
So you've witnessed this yourself, yeah?
So this is a photograph.
This is your photograph, yeah?
So this is a photograph taken by
Soundly. This is
Soundly.
your photograph, yeah?
Right. That doesn't falsify the claim.
Is that your photograph?
No.
Okay. So how do you verify it?
You can verify it because the raw data is available from Soundly himself directly.
No, it's not. The JPEG's available, not the raw data.
No, that's false.
Okay, can you forward us over the raw data then, please? Can you forward us over the raw photo image for this?
That's not necessary.
No. It is.
It is.
IronRealmMedia at gmail.com. Can you forward us the raw version of this image?
You can contact Soundly himself.
No,
ask him for
you're
the raw
claiming
photographic
you've got it. You're claiming you've got it.
No, I'm not claiming I have it. I'm claiming it's available.
Okay, thank you.
It's available if you contact Soundly himself.
I'd rather talk to Lee about it then.
Is there something wrong with the photograph?
You tell me. What analysis have you done?
It clearly shows the curvature. You can see the line of towers curve in the distance. This is not what you would expect on a flat Earth.
Are you aware of
on a
photographic manipulation? Are you aware of Photoshop? Yes. Are you aware of CGI? Yes. Are you aware of the movie Gravity? So you will understand why we will be requesting the raw file to this photo. You're claiming it's real. You're claiming that you have access to the raw file, and you're not providing access to the raw file. So it's a photo. It's a video. It's hearsay. It can't be taken as proof. It can only be evidence, and very poor evidence at that.
Well, realistically, it's evidence of a very, very small ball, isn't it? If you want to take it as any substantial
valid. Photographic evidence is perfectly valid evidence.
Hang on, I'm looking for some photographic evidence.
All evidence is valid. It's whether it has value that is relevant.
Simply denying, you're simply denying, and just you're sort of being just a denialist in not accepting any kind of photographic evidence at all. Then no evidence that you can show has any merit either.
Can you provide me with the raw format of that footage?
You have no evidence for the flat Earth.
Brenda, do you understand the conditional acceptance?
Do you understand that you have, if you are going to deny all photographic evidence, then you have no evidence either.
No one's denying.
No one's denying evidence.
Pop up. I would like everyone to look at the photograph I'm about to share, Brenda.
Did you take this yourself?
No, but I know a person who took this picture.
Did you take it yourself? Can you provide me with the raw data? How do I know that you haven't photoshopped? How do I know this is not photoshopped?
You're proving the point.
Same point, Brenda.
You're proving the point, Brenda. There is no way of showing photos or video unless you took it yourself. Then you have validation for yourself that it is true.
Even if you take it yourself,
or
it's invalid.
You can provide something like the raw format. You don't have the raw format.
Even if it's the raw format, you don't know, because that could be faked.
Absolutely, but at least we could assess.
So you have
at
no
least we could assess
for the flat Earth at all. You have no evidence.
Really?
You have none.
Really?
What is your evidence for the flat Earth?
Water doesn't stick to a ball.
I think respectfully, Brenda.
Show me photographic evidence. You have no. You have no proof at all for a flat Earth.
There's plenty of photographic evidence. There's no photographic proof.
Photographic evidence is not allowed. If I can't have it, you can't have it.
All evidence is allowed, Brenda, as I have already said.
My photographic evidence is then allowed.
It is allowed, but it's the value that is placed on that photographic evidence or that video evidence or whatever. That is the important thing. All evidence is evidence, no matter how shit or CGI or fake it is.
You won't accept any photographic evidence from me.
You're not listening to what I'm saying, Brenda.
John, can I just speak? Yeah, Brenda, you were invited on because you were going to show us some evidence of the curve,
but you won't accept anything as evidence.
Give me a second just to speak, and I'll make the point before you respond to the point. You were invited on to present us with some evidence of the curve, and we graciously invited you on. And respectfully, you've turned up with something we all know about, and I'm a little disappointed in that. Now, what you've now started to do is ask us to provide evidence of the flat earth, and respectfully to you, didn't invite you on for that point. And if that's all you've got, thanks very much. I appreciate the evidence that you've brought to the table for curvature. I've got some that I'd like to share with after you.
Oh, we can talk then in general, but if you won't allow me to present any evidence,
respectfully, you were invited on.
You don't allow me to present any evidence. Respectfully,
you've shown us a picture.
Not a debate on Soundley's work. Which, if we were interested in debating Soundley's work, we would have covered by now.
We would have had Soundley on, quite frankly, but we're not here to discuss third-party anecdotal evidence.
Yeah,
you said you could prove it.
On, respectfully,
yeah,
it's not,
I would too.
You know.
Unless you've got something original to present that hasn't been done to death ad infinitum, then you have nothing original to present. So your evidence is not proof.
What original evidence do you have?
Well, we're about to do some after you've left.
I'd invite you to go and look at our. Go back and look at our history, Brenda. Go back and look at all the videos we've put out.
Thanks, Brenda. It's been a pleasure.
I can put out videos too, but what original?
Brenda, go and look at Adam's moonlight temperature experiment. Go and look at my gyroscope experiment. Go and look at my Isle of Portland over 30 miles experiment. We're not seeing anything from you other than a third
of boats going over the alleged curve.
Absolutely, and your shrinking sun. You know, this is all evidence, and we're not telling you to believe it. We're telling you to go out and recreate it. We're not showing you some third-party, anecdotal, already proven CGI bullshit from Soundly that as proof. You made an extraordinary claim that you could prove the Earth is flat, and you come up with a third-party picture of dubious origins. So thanks a lot.
Well, Brenda, I went ahead and bounced you out of here because I wanted to give you an opportunity to go back and look at our broad history of work. Well, we provide proof of a flat Earth, our own proof provided. Adam does great work. John does great work. Walt does great work. We've done it. But you wouldn't know that because you haven't researched. You don't know who we are. You just want to come on and start throwing accusations. We're not going to deny all photographic evidence. We're just waiting till we get that raw data first. There were no denials.
And he also didn't want to, and hasn't watched any of the rebuttals of Soundley's work, which clearly show that the JPEG that he provided was manipulated. Full stop. It's manipulated. Provide the raw format, or you're providing toilet paper, as far as I'm concerned. Pointless. All evidence, but valueless. Anyway, moving on. Where's ISON Tracker?
Probably still working.
John's hungry now.
No, I'd like to apologise to him because I thought he was someone I'd had a ding dong with on Twitter and ended up blocking and etc. etc. But I looked it up, but he hasn't. But I'm not sure it's the same one. I don't block everyone. Only if they call your names and only if they waste your time.
Well, talking about wasting your time, that was a great example, wasn't it? I mean, I always said, like, people
killed at least 38 minutes there.
Oh, it's just frustrating, man. That is. Do you know what I mean? I'd love, and I don't mind some form of intellectual debate, but that was just nonsense and distracting.
I'm still quite staggered as to how many flat earthers or non-flat earthers have gone to that place in Lake Pontchartrain and back this up or not back this up. I'm staggered. I mean, it's such a no-brainer. for people. There must be tons of people in the area.
I actually went out there recently in a boat and took some video. I'll have to find the link. Give me a few minutes.
Yeah, Jeremy was talking about that, or Bob was, but I haven't. I don't think it was on the last Globebusters, but yeah, I'll be interested in that as well. But yeah, I'm just staggered that, you know, there must be loads of people around that area, unless it's in the middle of nowhere. I don't know.
And we've definitely addressed...
It's a busy interstate. That's the issue.
We've addressed the flat earth debunking videos and things on here because we're brave enough and intellectually honest enough to be able to take a look at both sides and not just outright dismiss something because we decided we don't need to look at it. And that's why we had Brenda on, was because we're not afraid to take on legitimate people willing to have an open discussion. Somebody who wants to come on and say they're just here to debate, but really have no clue as to what they're saying, well, that's just a waste of everyone's time. And I didn't think it was necessary.
Well, you can't debate without knowing both sides of the argument. Otherwise, it's just talking to a brick wall. So to have someone on that's only proof is a third-party photo from someone who's been soundly debunked, as far as I'm concerned, then and not to have even seen a single debunked video of that photo, then it's just utterly pointless, really.
It was a strange proof to rock up with, wasn't it?
Not really. That's about as good as it comes. That's about as good as it gets from my experience.
It's just our status, you see. Like Globebusters get Soundly rocking up to distract their show, and we get some fluffy of Soundlys rocking up to distract the show. But we're on the road, guys. You know, we're on the way. That's a bonus. That was it. That was the shilliest thing I've smelt in a while. That was somebody who had no concept of what they were even talking about. They're just paid to do something, weren't they? And
sounded like it, yeah.
Yeah, disappointing, man. Disappointing. Get a life, dude.
So we got any more?
Yeah, looks like Charlie just jumped on chat. He might want to jump in. He says the flat earth side of the argument's not that hard to understand. It makes no predictions. Because it makes no predictions, it is therefore invalid. Because I guess we're talking like eclipses, astronomical events, things like this. I don't know.
Okay, so this guy thinks that eclipses were unpredictable before 1400 AD or whatever.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, again, I'd say go and research the astrolabe, go and research the 18/19 year cycle of the moon. It matters not whether it's a flat earth or a ball earth. A lunar and solar eclipses can be predicted either way with 18 plus years of data. So come back in 18 years and yeah, then prove we're on a ball or a flat earth using that data.
Well, Charlie says he can't come on. He's got stuff going on. I'm still not entirely sure if he was pro spinny ball or pro flat earth.
I don't know, but I've heard it many times. You know, flat earth's full of shit because you can't predict lunar eclipses or solar eclipses or whatever. We can predict them down to the minute. I mean, this has been done for millennia, absolute millennia. But you know, before the Earth was a ball, before it was flat, you name it, it doesn't matter. It's,
that is a really strange thing to throw at flat Earth. Actually, the eclipses and
it's not
and
when you
stellar
read
events, because
Metabunk forums or WikiLeaks or Wikipedia or bullshit.
What I mean by that is, with the slightest bit of reading, you see that most ancient astrology is flat Earth based, and it's the most accurate predictive stuff there is in terms of movement of celestial objects. Do you know what I mean? So it's a very strange
most
accusation to put out there that as a debunk or a proof of globe. It's
just look at an astrolabe.
Yeah.
He says astrolabes assume that there are stars on a celestial sphere. Where's the other half of the sphere if the Earth is flat?
You can get full sphere astrolabes. They're just more convenient if you are residing in the northern hemisphere or the southern hemisphere. Just like you can get full sphere planetariums, planispheres, whatever they're called.
And Brenda says people have known the Earth is round for 2,600 years.
Really?
Apparently.
Who did Brenda know back 2,600 years ago?
Well,
got a letter from great uncle Brendan. Yeah, it's nonsense.
At best, Brenda's taking someone's word for it, who heard it from someone else, who heard it from someone else, who heard it from someone else, who heard it from someone else 2,600 years ago, all the way back at best.
But Brenda would know, wouldn't she? That
he's just talking
absolutely in no way is any document valid past 1500. There is no.
And if you're talking about sticks and shadows and Aristophanes, then you're sorely mistaken, because you need to go and research Voliva and his explanation that shows it works perfectly well on a stationary flat plane with a close local small sun. So your sticks and shadows neither proves a flat Earth or a ball Earth, just two different perspectives. It's all it's ever shown. But there are many other ways to show a flat Earth and stationary Earth that you're completely ignoring.
Charlie's confused about the full sphere astrolabe.
That's because he hasn't researched it.
Nope. Brenda says he has researched it, and Eratosthenes does not work on a level plane.
Proving
there you have it.
That he hasn't researched it at all, and he's still talking out of his rectum.
Well, of course he is, because he's saying he has researched it. He just was on here not 10 minutes ago talking about that he's not researched it.
And putting forward a third-party photo as proof of a ball Earth. If that photo is accurate, then your ball Earth is about 300 miles in diameter. It's ridiculous. Anyway, don't we have something to move on to?
Yeah, those astrolabes you're talking about, full sphere, aren't they armillaries? They're like basically a big ball, and they're one of those UPOT things, aren't they? That there are lots of these things that are actually solid blown spheres made of copper or whatever it is, but they're like full spheres with the technology that you can't comprehend from their age of them. There's no way that they could be made.
That's news to me. I haven't seen a spherical astrolabe yet. I've seen disc-shaped
really ancient ones, so they're full. Yeah. But they're one of those UPART things. Anyway, but that was just what I thought he was on about.
Can you remember what that acronym stands for? Out of place?
Yeah, out of place
artifact or something.
Yeah. What's your man for that?
Well, these are people saying that they're finding
the technology to make them is way beyond the time they come from.
These are things, the UFLAs or whatever they're called. The first one I saw was in a Max Egan book, and it was showing like a Swiss clock mechanism encased in coal and saying this thing is 350,000 years old or whatever. Yeah, I was stunned at the time, but since then, realizing that coal can be made in a matter of months, I don't know anymore, so I can't comment on that.
It proves neither timeline. It proves history's bollocks, doesn't it? It's all it proves.
Or staged.
Oh,
Charlie
certainly
said
staged.
an astrolabe is a disc that you hang and line up the moving arm on a star. Come on, guys. Charlie knows there's only one kind of astrolabe, and that's all. And you guys are just making stuff up, talking about other kinds of astrolabes.
Well, we're not making stuff up, are we? We're giving informed opinion of stuff we've read.
Charlie makes big telescopes. He knows about these things.
As far as I know, you can get a northern astrolabe and a southern astrolabe, and there are rare instances of both northern and southern astrolabes in one instrument. There was a guy who was making his own on YouTube from a museum artifact that was about to be thrown out because it took up too much space. I don't know. Do your own research, Charlie.
But welcome to
tell us all about it.
You're always liable to learn something you didn't know yesterday. That's what's great about Flat Earth Fridays. That being said, we're running on 3 hours. We got going on a little less than 10 minutes, like 9 minutes. We'll hit the 3 hour mark.
Well, after the lovely interjection we've just suffered,
hasn't happened in a while. We haven't had trolls come hit us for quite a while.
Thank you very much, Mr. Troll. It kind of proves the point of what we're doing. Look, this person has just rocked up with Soundly's picture, blah, 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 blah. I believe everything. So we alluded earlier that somebody had posted a fantastic flat Earth proof that they'd gone out, got off the backside and kind of gone to show what curvature would look like. And I don't know if you've got that video, Josh, that's maybe worth playing, and I'll do a little bit of just to showing that we don't just sit there and go, we bother to actually at least explore it a little bit. And I've just got a couple of pictures that I just bothered to verify what I thought I was seeing. And maybe that might help the caller in their pursuit of truth as well.
So where is it?
I don't know. What did Walt? Did you get it sent, Walt?
Actually, I sent the name. I didn't actually resend the video. I thought it was still close enough in the room. I'll find it in 1 second, guys. I'm sorry.
I always did.
So, what's been said in chat? Anything interesting? Hello to everyone in there.
Charlie said we had to just look up astrolabe.
Is he the only one in chat, or what?
No, we have the way. Brenda's in there. Alba's in there still. Alba just booted Brenda, though, so Brenda's not really in there too much.
I just saw it, but Brenda was pointing out that the Greeks knew. You know, quality supporting evidence, such as the Greeks knew. So don't deny the history that obviously Brenda's researched of the Greeks and what they knew and what they state. I mean, one of the things we've just looked at tonight is what did people know back then? We've got actual written documents from the turn of the last century that show that clearly the common thought wasn't what we today are told everybody believed. For 500 years it was a globe. Clearly they didn't.
Yep.
So what did the Greeks believe 2,500 years ago, Brenda? I don't know.
And how the hell did Brenda know?
Yeah, that you have any supporting evidence to qualify your statement that the Greeks knew. But
I mean, I don't know if anyone's
Albert's
ever
killed you, so it doesn't
read.
matter now.
Has anyone read the press reports of Rowbotham's countrywide lecture tour? Anyone read them?
Years, like when I started all this, I saw all that. Yeah.
I mean, every single. I mean, they're just unbelievable. And this is 1880 odd. We're led to believe that this ball Earth has been even 500 years ago. We're almost all certain that they knew it was a ball 500 years ago, but in reality, they had no idea up until round about the time that NASA was incorporated in the 50s. They had no idea. Even Picard in the 30s, even George Orwell in the 30s writing about this, they had no idea. Not until it was shown to them in a picture or a high altitude rocket or whatever, some other fakery, then it was known.
And that's the reality. We haven't seen it, and that's all we've asked for. That's what most of us start out trying to see, just to prove flat Earth wrong. Just that simple picture.
I popped that video, the flat Earth proof video that you asked for, sir. It is waiting for you, Josh. Whenever you're ready, it should be there in the media room.
I see it, sir. You guys go ahead and fill while I get this pulled up.
Oh, sorry, dude. Thought you was there.
I thought it was ready. Yeah, my bad. I shut down waiting to watch you pop it up.
Give this flat Earth a shout out. Can you? Hold on.
This is
because it was a lady's voice, but
at K_C. That's KEIGH_. Sorry, I pulled my messages down. Anyway, K_C is the person who sent that for me, or to me. Actually, you know what? Someone else sent that to me, and I will find out who that was in the debate. But it's like 40 people in the debate with me, so it's going to take a moment.
So who have we been joined by? Looks like Flat Earth Math to me.
Yeah, that's my dad. And Flat Earth Math's son, Mars.
Hello, Mars.
Hello.
Welcome.
There was actually an experiment school children did to prove we live on a globe called the Bedford level experiment. And they only stopped doing it because of NASA. It's not like NASA proved we live on a ball. Like school children did experiments to prove we live on a ball before NASA. They just stopped doing it because once we have pictures of photographic evidence that we live on a ball Earth, we don't it's not like a compelling.
Can I ask you, Flat Earth son, how much research you've done into the Bedford levels?
Not an extreme, surface level research.
Okay, thank you.
All right, so I got that video pulled up. Let's just
Can I ask? I assume you're not son of Flat Earth Math, but hi Pete, as you're showing up. Do you want to do a proper introduction, or are you? In which case, I apologise.
Well, I mean, he denies I'm his son, but I keep telling my mom, I'm like, Dad is telling people on YouTube I'm not his son and stuff, and she yells at him.
Okay.
I mean, I'm with Flat Earth on the conspiracy. I do most of my research is about how propaganda works and the elite control our minds through. I believe we live in a scientific dictatorship. So
that's where a lot of us. That's where a lot of us were before we got into Flat Earth. You know, It's part of the schooling, isn't it? It's part of the understanding. So are you a baller or a flatty? Which?
Oh, I'm a ball earther. I entertain the idea of the flat Earth. I thought it's possible because I understand like we are lied to and people believe a bunch of bullshit. So like anything, I kind of think anything is possible, you know. So
I entertain the prospect of a ball. I just go with the evidence I've got. So it's interesting to meet somebody of similar way of thinking, but of different opinion. So, evening, Pete.
Yeah. Good evening. Yeah, well, I did a lot of research into flat. Like, I don't know, I found some evidences that were satisfactory to me that we live on a globe, I guess. Like when you increase altitude, right, you can see like the horizon gets farther away the higher you go up. And that's consistent with like a ball. Like if the Earth was flat, the horizon would be the vanishing point. The horizon would be like you just can't see farther than the horizon, but we can see objects beyond the horizon that are obstructed by the horizon. And when we increase our altitude, we can see farther. And that is really good evidence that we live on a ball to me. So that kind of proved it to me. And I wasn't using like NASA. It was just something you can observe for yourself. So, because I could understand like NASA started as Jet Propulsion's laboratory, which involves some shady characters like Jack Parsons, who was involved with L. Ron Hubbard of Scientology fame, and Aleister Crowley of he ran Thelema. He became famous in his religion called Thelema. So NASA has some shady origins, not to mention the NASA Nazi scientists they imported through Project Paperclip, like Werner von Braun. So I think like potentially we didn't land on the moon and stuff, and I think potentially they are lying about where we are in the cosmos. Like maybe they're lying about how the galaxy works and what the stars are. That could potentially be a lie, but I think as far as like the solar system and how like the planets and what's going on, because we can observe a lot of that stuff with telescopes.
So Pete, you sound like you have the same opinion of us. You're just happy to work from a different starting point. You're happy to stick with the globe, even though you know, frankly, it stinks, all of it.
I don't know, because like no flat earther has really presented a compelling argument to think to me that it's flat. Like,
is that what you need from Mars?
Well, yeah, I would like a reason to think it's flat. Because
you just gotta give us a reason, guys.
I presented with a lot of good reasons to think it's a ball that don't involve like NASA and pictures and that you can like observe. You know, anyone can observe.
So simply then, why isn't there a picture that you can just show me and go, there you go?
Well, because photographic evidence can be denied, like with the
no. There's not one credible picture that you can put up that we could even try and deny. You wouldn't even attempt to put something up because you know yourself it's farcical. What we're shown, what we're led to believe, what we're asked to believe, and I've got no problem with seeing evidence. And if somebody shows me a ball, we all go to bed happy. Thank you very much. Job done. Nobody got into this here to prove anything. You know what I mean? Or deny anything. We got into it to actually just prove to ourselves what it was. And it's the lack of evidence, and more importantly, conspiracy, which is a form of evidence for what my starting point is, as opposed to yours. I've moved away from a 500-year-old theology to what I've historically researched, other than what Brenda was saying the Greeks knew. What I've bothered to research that is a much more long-standing, in terms of any forms of civilization, even those that are lost, worked on a flat plane basis. So I've no problem with your standpoint, but you do sound like your standpoint is, I'm here right now, but I'm happy to move because I can smell the BS.
Yeah, I mean, I think, like, you know, Hollywood movies and TV and music, and that's all propaganda, and all the government is totally brainwashing and lying to us. And like climate change is a good example of like where science is lying to us, I think. Because I think climate change is a bunch of bullshit just to get rich people more power and more money and whatever, you know? So I think that I have a lot of issues with science, actually. I've read some like Bertrand Russell books, and like I listened to Aldous Huxley lectures. Like Aldous Huxley, he wrote Brave New World, and he went around talking about how we live in a scientific dictatorship. And he was friends with George Orwell, and it was kind of like we kind of live in a world. There's elements of 1984 and elements of Brave New World that it's kind of like what the world is that we live in, and so I do believe that. Like, so it's not. That's why, like, I gave Flat Earth a chance. Like, I thought it could be true. So I don't know, and maybe it still is. Maybe I'm just brainwashed to think I'm on a ball. I don't know. It's possible, but
so in 1984, when they quite clearly talk that we will manipulate your understanding of the world, the universe, etc., etc., what do you take from that then? That it's just.
I think
they said they make you think the stars are close, and that's what happens to you now. But you think the Earth's flat, but that's exactly. Hello, I'm a cat. I was just saying, yeah. You're asking about the new 1984. They're talking about the exact same thing as the flat Earth right now. They're trying to make you think something that you think is unbelievable, but they can make you think it. That's what they're saying. They can control your mind. Whatever they say goes. If you don't think, this is an experiment into seeing how social media and YouTube and things like that can really control your mind. I'm telling you, I used to be a flat earther. I used to believe this stuff. But if you really do your research and you really actually do what they say and do your own research, you'll find it's not flat. Can't be. Well, I'm a cat. I'm a cat and I know this.
1984 was talking about like cosmology for a little bit, but I think there's some truth to that where cosmology is like your axiom, right? And I think there is a kernel of truth to the flat Earth conspiracy, and I think it's this, that they want to push this atheistic, materialistic philosophy, and this whole like we live on a spinning ball, and there's millions of planets, there's life elsewhere. We're just like one of a billion other planets just like us. We're not special. Like, I think there's truth to that. They want our cosmology to reflect the axiom that it's a materialistic atheist world and we're not special and God's not real.
Because to summarize, do you mean the religion of scientism?
Yes, kind of. And I think because they're moving away, because they used to in the past control us through religion, but because of things like the printing press, people got the Bible in their hands, and that was like one of the first like truth movements was when people started reading the Bible and they're like, hey, this is insane what these priest motherfuckers are telling us, these preachers are telling us, they're bullshitting us. So people just started forming their own religions and stuff. So now they're trying to make like religion and seem like, oh, that's ancient phooey hocus pocus and mumbo jumbo, and science is the shit now. And that's their method of controlling people through science, and they want people in this like atheistic, materialistic worldview, I think. So
it doesn't mean that all science is bunk, though. You know,
that's true. Yeah,
because much of it is very, very applicable with modern technology and all that kind of stuff. But I was going to ask you, gentlemen, you guys are flat earthers, like in real life. What are the best evidences of flat Earth?
Can we just
Guys,
ask if you can introduce yourselves? Yeah, right.
Josh, can you get that phone?
So,
hi, I'm Alex.
Hi, Alex.
Hi, Alex.
The cat. Is that right?
Yeah, I'm a cat.
Yes, yeah. Alex is the cat. My name is Timothy Osman. I've actually been debunking the flat Earth sophism psyop Trojan horse meme for about 3 years now.
Nice to meet you. And Mr. Miyagi?
I believe that was Pete.
And I'm assuming you all.
I'm Mars. Yeah.
And this was all from Brenda. She shared this link with you guys, I'm assuming.
I don't know. I just found it.
I just found it too. I just wanted to help the people in the room that might be under the flat Earth inclination.
Right, guys, I'd just like to say this is so flattering.
I got the link from LBGQT message board.
But you shouldn't be afraid to debate your ideas.
No,
if you're strong in your
faith,
and you know what you're talking about, it should be cool. And we'll be polite as well. So.
You've bothered to do this. Thank you.
We care. We do care, man. One day you'll realise that we're not paid by NASA.
Our past work. What'd you think of everything else we've done? Our experience we've done. What'd you think of that stuff?
What are you talking about?
Well, I'm assuming you're familiar with our work. No.
No, I've never seen it. But someone.
I'm not either.
Well, how about?
Sorry, I'm not being rude. Sorry, I really haven't. I'm enjoyed. I'll sub and I'll watch.
No, I get it. A lot of people don't. We're really small. How about this? How about you guys hop off here, spend a few weeks catching up on our stuff, and we'll schedule a time. And
but are you flat earthers? Because I've caught up on the flat Earth. We've all caught up on the flat Earth.
We've all seen all of the experiments and the observations.
And you thought, what'd you think of ours?
Such as what? What's your take on moonlight?
So hold on. You must have obvious, repeatable, observable proof that the Earth is a spinning ball.
Absolutely. There's actually two celestial points, north and south. From really, if you look at any flat Earth Harry Potter pipe dream map, doesn't really matter how you slice or dice it up. The southern hemisphere is going to just not only just completely be distorted, but the people in the southern hemisphere's countries can look due south and see the same thing, a south celestial point. So there are two celestial points. And it doesn't matter if you're a flat earther or not. It's the truth of where we live. It's the reality. And not only that, it matches up with our latitude and longitude system.
So Tim, you're in the south then, yeah?
No, I live in Denver, Colorado, actually, most of the time.
When were you in the south?
Actually, at the beginning of this year, I was in near Cusco, Peru.
What did you find?
Well, I found that there's actually a whole set of different stars, and it does corroborate with Stellarium and other programs in which we've actually known this for quite a while. And that's why they call it actually the celestial sphere. They don't call it the flat Earth pipe dream, dome or whatever. And this is completely repeatable and testable. You can go near the equator, go up really high, look due south and due north. It doesn't matter where on the equator. If you can get up high enough, you're going to see two celestial points rotating.
But okay, you saw. Hold on. So you saw different stars the further south you went. Is that right?
Yes.
And is there any reason why you wouldn't think that you would see different stars the further south you went?
Well, no, actually, I'm saying that it corroborates the spherical model in that there are two celestial points, and not only that, it matches up with your latitude and longitude.
On a flat plane, if you were to walk from a position south and carry on walking south, is there any reason why you would expect to see the same stars above you after 4,000 or 5,000 miles? Would you not expect to see different stars above you?
Truthfully, the better question is, how can we see the South Celestial Point from three different points, three different countries in the southern hemisphere, looking due south? Okay, if you actually conceptualize this on any flat Earth map or model ever conceived, it's just not going to work. Not only that, we can look at things like the angular size of the sun. You'd think if it's perspective and it's hovering above us, you'd think that it would be its biggest over your zenith, over your head, but it's not.
I'd go back to what John said. I think John's question's very valid before you change the point. Do you not think, especially if we're considering a different type of cosmology, not millions of miles, that if you traveled that distance on the Earth, that you would expect to see a different...
Well, look, I'm saying that there are two celestial points. I would not expect to see another celestial point as going towards Admiral Byrd's crack, smoke, and ice wall, the 2 mile high thing.
But with
like, I wouldn't
respect, Tim, you're ignoring the question. You know, it's a reasonable question on a flat plane.
So would I expect
walking from north to
on a
south,
flat Earth?
Yeah,
would you not expect to see
with the concept of the model? So would you not expect that?
Well, yeah, but I mean, we can get into the flat Earth model and what I would expect to see if you'd like, because I would think from Antarctica you could see Polaris at no less than 45 degrees in your sky near your horizon.
Why would you expect that, though? I mean,
because there's no sphericity of the Earth.
It certainly wouldn't be at 45 degrees. I mean, it would more likely be at about 10 or 20 degrees. 30? At which point the angular resolution of that star and the mirror band that is the vanishing point on the horizon would make that absolutely impossible to see. I mean, this is almost akin to Bill Nye asking why he can't see Spain from New York. I mean, it's utterly ridiculous.
No, guys, can I ask you a question? Do you understand the point of the celestial sphere? Do you actually understand that is a good point to think the Earth's a sphere? Like, whatever you believe or not, honestly, that means you don't understand the point.
No, I understand
we understand it pretty good, brother.
Well, no, do you understand that looking at what you see above you can tell you what is below you?
No. Let's
wait. No. I'm just asking a simple question. Do you?
What is the celestial
I'm not asking
sphere?
you to. Okay, so the celestial sphere is imagining that all the stars are on a sphere around us, around the whole Earth, right? It's just just imagine they're all imprinted
based on what
we know how the programs work. We're very familiar with the.
No, but that's the idea of viewing the stars like that. What I'm saying is, if you don't understand that at least it is a point for the globe Earth, it means you haven't visualized it properly. You're not understanding what we're trying to tell you, what Tim's trying to tell you here.
Well, Tim's not been very clear of what he is trying to say.
Right. All he's
okay.
What is?
Can I explain it really quickly, guys? Can I explain it really quickly? It's very simple. That there are literally 2 celestial points. There's a north one, which is Polaris is very close to. It's very like a half a degree off or whatever, and all of the stars around Polaris basically go counterclockwise around it. Okay. Now, when you're in the southern hemisphere at a certain latitude point, southern, you can literally look due south and see the same thing, but it's a southern crux. It's a south celestial pole. Okay. And everything is going clockwise around it, all of the stars, right? So when you're near the equator, you can see star trails going over your zenith, over your head. All of this just is a point of contention. Just look, this is the way that it is. You can look this research up. It's very simple. You can go do this yourself.
We're not freshmen, mate. We're not freshmen. Yeah. We know this.
No, but
then how do you describe that on a flat Earth?
You're rocking up telling me you're rocking up telling me this because of this, but actually what you're turning up saying is you have to believe that the Earth is this shape because I've got some anomaly, right, that could possibly mean it's not this shape. It doesn't lend any solid evidence to your model. It's a question that we've got.
So do you understand that it's completely the whole world celestial sphere is completely
Tim, that you're not actually coming to the table with any primary evidence yourself. You're coming with secondary, tertiary, hearsay.
Primary evidence to you.
Evidence.
If you want to be taken seriously, yes.
Would that be primary evidence if I gave it to you?
No, Tim, can I put it from my perspective?
Okay, that's what I thought. Okay.
What you're telling me, but respectfully, it's nothing I haven't researched myself. But,
okay, so what is the rebuttal for flat Earth? Because the sphere, the celestial sphere works. You can go and corroborate it anywhere on the Earth.
Yeah.
As you can on the flat Earth, as it has been done for thousands.
Tim, you still avoided.
No, you can't.
Dude, can I ask a question?
Tim, you still avoided the question that. You've still avoided the question about walking away from the North Pole to the South Pole and the stars being different. You've expertly avoided it, and you've had interjections from this flying cat.
I'll answer that.
Carry on, please. Carry on,
answer
please.
you for that, because of course you will expect to see the stars to go different. So as you get further to the south, away from the center, you're going towards the ice wall or whatever you think is out on the disk. You will expect to see the stars not spinning in an opposite direction from the north. You'll never see a straight star trail on the equator going straight above you. You'll expect to see stars making giant circles away from you, because you're on the edge. So now you're seeing star trails move like on a massive circle pointing away from you, not perfect circular star trails above you. Like
so you're in the southern hemisphere,
and they'll be oblong. They won't be perfectly circular. They'll be oblate. Yeah,
Alex, you're in the southern hemisphere. Yeah.
Hear them? No, of course not. I'm in England.
You're in England. Okay, right. So you're in England as well. So again, you're talking about something that you don't understand. And
Why do you guys go to that? Why don't you just try to explain it on the flat Earth?
You're not observing it.
No, I'm telling you what you would expect to see. Now, if I want to observe
You're telling me what I would expect
because there's
to
plenty
see
of videos
from your opinion.
Because
this is validated by practical. This is validated by practical astronomers every single night, man.
Okay, guys. All right, time to be quiet, because this is IronRealmMedia, and we don't do talking over each other, and we don't do shouting at each other, and we don't do bullshit. So I'll leave it over to you, Josh.
I'm not talking bullshit because
I have a question for you guys. I've done this myself many times. And in all the time and date and the stellarium and everything else, all the southern countries that are seeing this alleged celestial point are all seeing it about 6 to 8 hours apart at different times, which doesn't work on your ball.
Okay, buddy. If you're saying that those stars are moving around in a circle, right, around the disk, right, then they wouldn't create perfect circular star trails. They'd be oblate. That's what I'm trying to say.
Go do the research for the time.
I'm telling you, you're not visualizing.
I've done it many times. Go look.
If you honestly, right, because I used to be a flat earther, if you cannot visualize what I'm saying, it means you did not understand the point. It's simple. You're not understanding the geometrical point I'm making to you. It's simple geometry. If you're not understanding that, if you can't at least concede, like I will concede certain things about flat Earth that don't, that I can understand. Well, you think that because I used to think that things like things on the horizon, not seeing curve as you rise, things like the horizon appearing to stay at your eye level, all that I can accept as evidence of a flat Earth. But if you can't accept the point we're making about the stars, it actually means you don't understand it. I'm sorry to say it, and I'm not trying to be rude. You haven't visualized it properly, and you haven't understood the point we're making.
I don't think anybody's this not accepting the point in the globe model. Of course.
Okay.
Somebody just literally refuted the globe model and said it doesn't work on the globe model. And look, it's 6 hours apart, of course, because
I think there are a couple of things that are questionable in what you're saying, but I understand the point you're making. But the southern pole star is of dubious origin.
Can we get on to how the sun sets and rises
within your model? There isn't a requirement for one, so it doesn't matter anyway. But there are certain things, that are held as globe truths with the southern pole star that aren't necessarily 100% factually correct. But I understand it, Alex, perfectly well.
Okay, that's cool.
From the model that we all used to believe, dude. You're not trying to educate us in this. Hopefully you understand.
When you were saying, it seemed to me like you were saying that isn't a good point, and it's a great point Tim's making. It's actually a really good point.
Right.
We should move on to the next one. Let's
just cut to the chase then, right? We all know why you're here, and that's fine. Okay. But pay a little.
Why do you think we're here?
Why? Please inform us why we're here.
If you say I'm paid, I'm really not. I've got that's my real name.
I'm not getting the chance to finish the sentence. So sorry. I was saying, pay a little bit more respect to our intellect, and let's have some proper discussion rather than this silliness. Yeah. If you're bringing something to the table, bring it to the table. But if all you want to do is come and argue over old points, then
well, dude, with respect,
you're not in the right place.
That's why we argued about it, because you said it wasn't, and that's all. Because we were just
there was a contention, yeah.
Well,
can we ask what you're bringing to the table then?
Well, that's one thing. You've admitted that's a point. You just admitted you understand it. So that's one thing we've brought to the table. So we can move on to the next.
Of course, I understand it in your model. I
just
understand
one
what you
point.
understand as gravity. I understand lots of it.
No, but we're just talking about the celestial sphere, like how it's impossible to. Well, it seems virtually impossible to. It is impossible if you can track one star. Honestly, if you can track one star in the southern hemisphere on a flat Earth, then you'll be famous.
Dude, let's be honest. You came on and brought this subject up because it is a really good, questionable point in standard flat Earth theology. I've no problem with that. Right, that's fine. And
I think we'd all agree that it's an absolute cracker.
Just to put one block in there doesn't mean and it's round.
It really is an absolute cracker. You've got. And I've been to Australia and I've seen this, and I've seen it rotating. What is it? It's anti-clockwise in the north.
It's clockwise
in the
southern
south.
hemisphere.
Yeah. And I've seen it, and I can't wait to get back there again to do a number of other experiments. I haven't been back there for probably 6 years or so now, but. It's a cracker. It's an absolute cracker, but it's not a ball breaker.
Because none of us know the answer. We all have our own assumptions of where we're starting from. But obviously you've not followed a lot, but have you looked at any of the work that Z Proxy's been doing with guys in the southern hemisphere, cosmic surf and stuff, and with a lot of the stuff that's coming out with a apparent sun and possible effects of magnetics? Have you looked at the correlation between their 3D work and the reality that this data actually transposes and demonstrates an apparent sun?
Yeah, I'd love to see it, actually. I'm not kidding, because these are the questions that I'm always interested to hear from flat earthers. It's one of the most important things I want to hear. So, because I used to be a flat earther, and these are the things that got me out of flat earth.
Well, what does that mean, dude? Because, for me,
I was going to say, what does that mean? You used to be a flat earther.
I
don't believe the definitive model.
Yeah, well, that's what I mean. I'm not going to say I was going around like some of these streamers saying Earth's 100% flat. I was just I was on a percentage thing where I was like, I reckon it could be flat. I'm like 90%. But then as I did more research, it started to drop.
If you're taking me to Ladbrokes and I've got a tenner and I've got to put it each way, then clearly we're in different camps. But
the
reality is, I don't, like I said, take a picture from high enough up to show me, and I'm happy. And
do you know what I did for that?
Why do you not?
You know what I did? I just went on Google Earth and I just went to the heights that these balloon footages that have straightened out and not showing much curve. I went to the heights, used the same field of view, and saw roughly the same curve. It really started to hurt me because I was like, actually, that is basically the same, and that's on a 3D sphere. Because I was thinking of modeling it. I used to be a compositor and a 3D animator, so I was thinking of modeling it, but I was like, I can't be bothered. It's a bit of a hassle to figure it all out. And then I just thought, Google Earth, obviously that's all modeled how it should be apparently. And sure enough, you can do that and see, with a good FOV of about 90 or whatever they're using on those cameras, and you'll see that amount of curve. I mean, it's not that doesn't those balloon footage cameras don't necessarily, to me, prove much in the end.
So I would like to make a point really quickly that like I said, I've been talking to Flat Earth and dealing with this since literally 3 years ago. So you never know when you're talking to somebody what level they're on. Most times I can talk about stars and they'll have absolutely no idea what the Southern Crux is or anything like that. So like I said, I've never listened to you guys, but
we have a missing member who's in Australia. So, I mean, we're doing a lot of research on it ourselves.
Awesome. That's sweet. Yeah. I mean, based on latitude and longitude, man, I mean, it all matches up. And that's what I'm saying is just, if it logically, I think it logically necessitates when you can literally model it out with a celestial sphere, and that's exactly what we see on Earth. Something, I mean, unless God created a flat Earth that is just tricking us all for some reason, like there are really, really smart people in these fields that believe that the Earth is a sphere, not just from NASA's photography, okay? Like they know these finer points, and most people don't.
What latitude are you at?
What? That's a religious statement.
What latitude are you at?
Hold on, he just said that's a religious statement. I mean,
hold on. Just answer my quick, easy question.
Acceptable here, dude.
I'm in Denver, Colorado. You can look it up.
30 odd.
Yeah.
Okay.
Higher, yeah.
I have a question. Anybody that's not part of Iron Realm, raise your hand if you were invited here. Speak up. All right, that's what I thought. So, since nobody was invited here,
I was invited. It's just I don't know who invited me.
Well, how would I come here if I wasn't invited? I don't understand.
That's the question.
We're just playing semantics anyway.
Oh,
yeah,
sorry.
Who invited
you know when you're asked a really obvious question like that, and
I
you
just
can't
got
answer it
invited,
straight.
right?
How can anybody believe a word that comes out of your mouth?
Oh, come on, man! Like you said, look, I know it's a bit weird. We've come
Have
in
some integrity, dude.
I get that. I get it.
I'm stood there with my picture up. You're stood there with a cat.
No, but I have got. That's my real name.
If you
really want, I'll put myself on webcam if it's that important to you. Because I'm
No,
not.
That's not what I said. That's not what I said. I've got no interest in seeing your face. I said have some
but I will.
About what
Guys,
comes
are
out
you
of your
triggered
mouth.
just because we talked about the celestial sphere? I mean, we have actual content to talk about. Like I said, I've been talking about this for 3 years, so I can go over some of your points.
I think the point Josh was alluding to was thanks, guys. It's been a pleasure. If you do want to get,
you want to continue to have an echo chamber talking about flat Earth, you can continue
you're
that.
talking over people again, aren't you? Which is something
Because you're just like, oh, you guys can leave because you're pussies.
No, that's not
fucking
what I said.
pussies.
I'm a pussy. Bye bye.
Echo chamber fucking bitches, man.
Oh,
fuck yourself.
So
it was fun anyway. It
could have been mature and spoken mature.
Oh, come on. I've been mature. I've been nice. I've tried to be nice. I'm going to leave. I'm going to leave because it's obviously upsetting you. But
come on.
Well, Alex,
Alex, all sorts of ways we could have done this, but you didn't.
Alex, please let me just speak.
Piss off.
I was about to say before people got silly because. Yeah, that's the last resort. That's the last card he had.
Exactly.
Yeah, I was about to say, but it would be really nice because you do actually seem an intelligent person who is able to hold a conversation at a level that maybe you could arrange to come back when you are invited and let's talk about something specifically because I've no problem with that, mate. But, you know, there comes a point where you've been asked politely, dude. Come on.
No, I'm going to leave. I'm going to leave. No, I'm going to leave. No, I'm being polite. I'm going to leave. I haven't said anything. The IronRealmMedia has told me to piss off. So I haven't said anything. I'm going to piss off. I'm just saying.
Would you like to come on another Friday? We're here every Friday.
I'll come on another Friday. I'd love to do that. That'd be great.
Chat to us. Send us something that we can discuss in an honest way.
And honestly.
And let's do that. We've no problem with that.
Alex.
Opinion, dude. I'm not trying to be. Yeah, sorry.
Could you go look at Dr. Zach's video that I just posted about the Star Trek?
Dude, I have seen Dr. Zach's video. Okay, yeah, I've seen Dr. Zach's videos. Yeah.
Can you make a model that works?
Dude, his model isn't okay. I will go. Do you know what? I will come on next Friday and I will discuss you Dr. Zach's model. Okay,
let's do that.
Alex, where did your invite come from? Just out of interest.
I don't know. It just came. Honestly,
just materialized.
No, honestly.
On
I'm just
on the screen.
All I'm going to say is, once an invite link gets put out, it goes just around everywhere. So that's what I'm going to say.
Really?
I think
I'm obviously not on those.
Look, Jamie Brown's even found your invite.
Welcome, Jamie.
Jamie's welcome, but.
I'm friends with Jamie. Jamie likes me.
How
you doing,
that's
Jamie?
what I'm asking you. Where'd you get the invite from?
Jamie gave it to me.
Okay, fair enough. Thanks,
Jamie.
Okay, that's fair enough. Jamie? That's cool,
Alex. By the way, we don't dislike you. I just don't appreciate.
We don't at all. We don't at all.
I don't dislike you, man. I don't dislike you. Honestly, I'm doing this because I used to be a flat earther, and it just. So I won't get into it now. We'll talk about it another time. Do you know what I mean? Let's leave it on a nice note.
Yeah,
I'd like to have I'd like to have a conversation with you about how you used to be a flat earther.
Hello, guys.
And
Jamie.
what changed?
What's going on?
I would love to have a conversation as well, man. That'd be awesome. I would actually like that.
Okay,
Yeah,
we'll sort that out. Cheers. Hello, Jamie. How are you?
I'll leave you now. See you later, Jamie.
Alex, take care, mate. Good to
take
meet
care,
you.
buddy. See you later. Take care.
Stick around.
Take care, Alex.
Oh, thank you so much for coming in, Jamie, and pulling this out of the shitter.
Oh, I don't know.
Right.
You know,
Yeah, I really appreciate it.
what's going on?
Nothing. What's
I'm
going
not
on?
bad. Jamie, good to meet you again.
So, how's it going?
Oh, good, well, oh, good, son. Oh, good, son. So, I haven't spoken to you in a while, mate.
So, I don't know. You know.
Okay, I think most of us have realised that this is
Yes, I think we have. I
probably
think we-
horseshit.
Bullocks.
And moving on swiftly.
So,
Well, I think at that point
what,
it's 1:30.
So, just try to get the message
It's
out there.
amazing
You know.
the lengths that they'll go to, quite frankly.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
It is
So-
quite amazing.
You know.
Yeah.
Who's got the kick function then?
I don't think anybody. Somehow they got on here. I can't see where the hell they got on.
Well,
Well,
dudes,
you know when you're receiving flack when you're over the target, eh?
Yes,
Yeah.
sir. I was thinking the same thing.
it's a
On that
fantastic
note-
compliment.
I think he's gone for now anyway. But yeah, we might as well go ahead and at least bounce out of this room.
Fringe it up.
You want to fringe it up? We can fringe
It's
it
up
up.
to you guys.
Dudes, I'm gonna head off because it's 1:30 over here. So
Damn
I've
it!
got
We
to
did
start
not
again, but,
discuss. We did not discuss your our flat Earth proof video. Damn it!
You're right.
I had it pulled up and everything.
Sod them. Let them watch it.
Let's do it.
Put it on. Let's just quickly put it on. A quick, lovely flat Earth proof on a model, as people have been telling us. Blah 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 blah. Stick it up.
It's reloading.
Well, thanks to all those who are inclined to join us this evening. We appreciate the attention. It's always nice to know we're getting something accomplished out there.
Right. At least we're getting viewers. And I'm going here, I think. Yes. Oh, but let me guess. You guys are going to want to watch this too.
Nah. We'll just guess. You know, we're demanding. I want to see.
It's only about 40 seconds, isn't it?
Yeah, it's not long. But very to the point.
Where is this place? Where is it? Is it in
I don't
Canada
remember. I don't think they mentioned in the actual description, but they probably say it. It's just the audio is quite, you'll see, it's kind of hard to hear the beginning part. So they may be saying it, and I'm just not hearing it right.
They are in Science North in Alberta, I believe.
Is that where it is?
Yeah. Go ahead and crank it volume up. Make sure we can hear it. Make sure everybody can see what it is playing.
I'm at Science North in Sudbury, Ontario, Canada, and I'm standing on the top of a
Sudbury?
1 millionth scale ball of the Earth. And we've got a map on here that shows that top center thing is where we are. It's in Sudbury. So I'm going to take my cell phone down to the level of the Earth, and we're going to see what the horizon looks like from my cell phone. So let's take a look. At 1/1,000,000th, this would be 10 kilometers approximately above ground at full scale, because my cell phone camera is about a centimeter above.
And this is where we buffer.
To be honest, mate, that's kind of the point made, isn't it?
Yep.
So I saw that and I thought, well, that looked curved to me. So,
for sure,
yeah. So I thought, well, I'll just take some screenshots of it. Can you see that?
Hold on, no. Let me get the Hangouts pulled up.
Oh, wait there. Share. You see that now?
Mm-hmm.
So I just took a couple of screenshots from it. Solely because I was curious. I didn't hear the commentary, as you can tell, because I measured my phone at 3 centimeters, not 1 centimeter off the ground, as she says. So I did the maths, and that's like 30 kilometers, which is 20 miles, which is the same as all the balloon heights. So I thought that'd be quite an easy comparison. So can you see there the red line? You can quite clearly see.
Looks like it's going diagonally down to the right.
Yeah.
You should have your
straight,
camera
but
90 degrees.
That's the way she's holding the phone. Yeah, totally. But it's not my site. It's just a YouTube video, dude. No problem. We're just dealing with what data we've been given.
If you want good evidence, you can go to Soundly's channel. You can play whatever you want.
I've seen the quality of it. It's such a verifiable source. So I just obviously did a couple of comparisons from other unverifiable sources.
Why do you guys criticize everybody but flat earthers, and then don't criticize flat Earth work at all? What's up with that?
Can whoever has been invited and not invited introduce themselves? I mean, when you walk into a room, you don't just start yelling and talking.
I'm Tim Osman. I already introduced myself. What's up?
You're Tim Osman again. Okay.
Yeah.
You got a different avatar, different account.
Be able to talk to somebody. How about that? You know, half the people that are in the chat are here because of me, so don't clown yourself.
Right. Mate, we're not interested in who's in the chat.
We can't give a monkey.
Well, somebody just actually made a comment about it a minute ago, so maybe you are.
Clearly.
Maybe you are.
Obviously got an ego issue, but thanks. But anyways, so there's the pictures, guys.
Yeah, it's bad evidence. Do you have any good evidence?
Don't deny it's bad evidence, but
you're interrupting. You're being antisocial. You're being childish, and you're being
rude. What's the point of showing that picture? It's bad evidence.
What's the point of coming on here uninvited?
I am invited. I just invited myself. There you go.
Okay, but you weren't invited by anyone who...
I don't care. You guys stop being pussies and talk to people. How about that?
Stop.
You're going around fucking like children telling people that the Earth is flat. It's pathetic.
Stop talking over people and start presenting some evidence.
Stop acting like you're drunk.
Acting like you're an idiot.
Do you have some evidence? Do you have some? Or are you going to shut up?
Absolutely. So obstruction due to curvature is actually a measurable thing, and there is a thing called geodesy. It's actually the basically measuring the shape of the Earth. Have you guys done any of that kind of auto levelers, anything like that? Ever used that equipment?
No, I suppose you have. But anyway, as I was saying, guys.
So you haven't.
We're in the middle of a presentation by someone who
discussing something before you rudely interrupted us, sir. So either shut up or leave.
I'm pretty sure that you wanted evidence, so I said geodesy. Maybe you should look into it.
Okay,
Josh,
thanks for the evidence. Now
could you give this guy the email so he could put it in an email to us, and then
it's
No, you guys are flat Earth fucking idiots. Okay, you just want to believe that the Earth is flat. With little 17 people watching you. Look at us. We're fucking adults talking about the flat Earth. You're pathetic, dude.
Thanks.
Grow some balls and go do some fucking experimentation. Go look up obstruction. Maybe someday you guys will be able to fucking explain how the sun sets or rises. Okay, you fucking pathetic muppets.
To be triggered. It's okay. Just relax. Take a big deep.
Yeah, man. It's okay. I know this scares you, that the idea of a creator and that you're not actually an accident is horrifying to you, and that you have to account for your life. But get ready for it.
Dude, the joke is on you and will continue to be.
I can feel it. I feel ridiculed. It's awful.
Oh, God.
It's terrible.
Go cry in a corner, dude. Jesus Christ.
Kind of like you're doing now? You just came to our corner to cry?
No, I just said grow up. All right?
But you're here crying.
This isn't cute. This isn't cute, okay? You and your little word salad and gish gallop games you play on this fucking show is pathetic.
Jimmy, stop.
Oh, look, the sun sets because of a magical invisible wall. Great, dude.
Gish gallop. Where have I heard that?
Yeah,
before?
gish gallop. Yeah, from Timothy Osman, maybe.
No, actually. No, someone you're copying, but there you go.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure. Maybe Dell? Maybe Dell, the one that I snipe every fucking week?
Good little drone.
Well done.
You know what? What are you guys going to think in a couple years when you figure out that there's absolutely no evidence for the flat Earth?
Well, you know, if we do figure that out.
3 years ago and 14 million and growing, Timothy. So
14 million? What does that mean? You think that's unique clicks, dude?
Oh, mate, I'll tell you what it means.
What are you talking about? Go look at Social Blade. Go look at Flat Earth and Other Hot Potatoes. Go look at Beyond the Imaginary Curve. Everybody's numbers is cut in half right now, dude. It's fucking dying because it's bullshit. People are figuring it out. There's evidence on the internet showing curvature of the Earth, in which you guys say there's none. All right?
So the ball.
So grow up, dude.
It's 300 miles according to the sounding pictures. Run a 300-mile ball.
This just shows how fucking childish you guys are. I bet I'm fucking younger than all of you guys, and you guys believe the Earth is flat, dude.
I bet you can't.
Stop your mouth gabbing for a second and give us some proof of ball Earth or spinning Earth.
I can't give you proof of shit, dude. You have to fucking prove shit to yourself, man. I can give you evidence.
So why are you
I can give you evidence, not proof.
We don't want your evidence, so why are you here?
No, give us your evidence other than hearsay. Give us something you've done. Give us something you've done. Show me a picture that you've taken. Show me some calculations or an experiment that you've done.
My God, I got 3 years of videos, dude. Catch up, man. I'm not some fucking idiot that just joined. Asking about why you can't see Paris from Houston, man.
Yeah, right? You're the beardy guy with a baseball cap that has absolutely fuck all to actually say, other than that your experiment for a concave Earth was complete bullshit.
I'm not Lord Stephen Christ. What are you talking about?
Are you sure?
The rectilineator? No, I didn't do the rectilineator.
So what have you done? What have you done? Okay, I've done the gyroscope thing, and Adam's done the moonlight experiment thing. What have you done?
So did you get the moonlight is cold then?
So can you not answer the question?
I've already talked about what I've done, dude.
What have you done? No, I
said I just told you 3 years of videos, man. You guys said, "Oh, you guys should get off here because you haven't watched our videos." Well, you haven't seen any of mine.
3 years, but what does that prove? What have you done that I can repeat, that I can do empirically myself?
Sure.
What have you done?
And test the stars. Go and corroborate the stars. Go to different latitudes and corroborate the stars. That means go and look and see the fucking angle that they're in your sky and corroborate it with the fucking Elm Team programs you can go see.
So when were you last in the Southern Hemisphere?
What?
When were you last in the Southern Hemisphere?
When did you last test it? Dude, I already fucking explained this, man. Are you drunk?
I'm sorry. Can you answer just the question? When were
I've
you
already
last in
explained
the
this,
Southern
man. You can
Hemisphere?
go back and listen to this conversation we've already had. All right, let's move on.
Okay. Well, you seem to be changing your identity every 5 minutes because
I'm Timothy Osman. I've said that from the very beginning.
You keep crashing onto Hangouts with different identities and different logos and different
Okay, is this the recap hour, or do you want to talk about evidence?
So don't try and tell me to keep a grip of what you're saying.
Yeah,
when you
your
keep
friends are wanting
changing
to
your
move
identity.
on, so move on, dude.
No,
this isn't
like
fucking
you.
high school and
Go
drama
ahead.
and shit,
Osman.
Go ahead.
Timothy Osman.
Yes, sir.
Right. Genuinely, dude. It's been a long show anyway. We're at the end. It's been a real pleasure having you.
Absolutely,
it really has.
You're welcome for the views.
And we appreciate
genuinely. If I'm being honest, mate,
I don't care. I don't care about your subjective beliefs. You're a fucking idiot flat earther, okay? You get that? You're a grown man and you think the earth is flat because you're stupid.
Well, I can at least hold a conversation without this level.
Well, I'm holding a conversation right now. You're a fucking idiot. I don't care about your fucking subjective bullshit, dude. All right? So click stop on your fucking showcast, dude. Go ahead.
It's ignorant of what I'm saying to you.
Oh, God, I'm 50 years old and I think the earth is flat because I'm a fucking idiot.
Don't call me 50, cheeky bogger.
Shh, Tim.
Hey, there's insults I'll take. Flat tard, yeah. Don't call me 50. That's well out of order.
And I'm just going to turn everybody down. I really cannot take listening to him much longer.
Yeah, go fuck yourself. Such a pussy, man.
I'm going to turn him down because he scares me.
You are.
He scares me.
It's okay, Timmy.
He's ruining my
You don't
echo
need to be
chamber
here on the Iron Realm.
Hey, it's okay, man. It's okay.
So
Why don't you go ahead and click stop on your bullshit fucking trollcast, all right? How about that?
That's actually what we're trying to do.
How about you do that, all right? That would be great. All right? Let's go ahead and do that. Click stop. All right? Go do some research.
Sticking with us.
Because you're fucking idiots.